I hope people are excited. How many of you were here yesterday? Can you raise your hands up? Okay. So how's the energy? Can I have a louder clap? Show me your energy. Come on, give it up. No, I'm not getting the vibes. Let's match it. Everybody, how's the Josh? No feedback. Little more louder. How's the Josh? Yeah, baat hai. All right. So moving on to our day two. Let's give a kickstart. We're having lots of entertainment. If you want to have some more fun, stay tuned, stay connected. Don't miss to have any moment here. Moving on, let's have the first lecture. This is by Dr. Padana. He is graduated with first class honor in medicine from Chulalongkorn. My God, so tongue twister. Chulalongkorn University, Thailand in 1986 and subsequently earned board certifications in internal medicines and nephrology in 1990 and 1992 respectively. He pursued further studies at the University of Florida, earning a PhD in molecular cell biology in 1998. Let's see how is the journey and what he wants to share the experience with us. So Dr. Badana, over to you. Give it up everybody.
Okay, my lately this morning and say, okay, this will be my first part of my lecture. You want to hear the second part? You have to go to Koshi in April. That will be the second part of my lecture. So after the end, I should say to be continued. Mitochondria about the disease. There's a yin and yang of life and everything. There's an ozone and there's a hypoxia, which I'm going to show you. But to understand longevity, because no one wants to get old, and people always think that how can we achieve longevity? We have to understand cell biology. Aging happens to every single cell in the body, and we have 30 trillion cells. Actually, when we are, let's say 20 years old, we have 100 trillion cells. And when we're getting older, this number of cells is getting less, and many of them are sick. By the time you have disease, hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and even cancer, your cells has been sick. So, from the sick cells became sick organ, and from the sick organ became the sick people, and from the sick people it became dead. And now when we try to treat them with all medicines, we fix it when it's too late. So longevity is not only a dream, it's not a dream anymore, it's scientific. Scientists has come together and finally come out with these 12 biological hallmarks of aging. And the problem is, they are scientists. They don't know how to translate it into the real world. So, I know some of these scientists because at the time when they were studying at the cell biology, it's already stopped. People want to look at the cells while it's getting old. It started like 30 years ago. And I know of some of these scientists, and while getting younger, they're getting super old. So they never try to translate the knowledge into the real world. Oh, I know why we are getting old. So continue getting old. Oh, we know why we're getting old and how we can fix it. Like I said, this is only my first part. I cannot talk about everything, but today I'm going to focus on mitochondria because it's the most important organelles that make us getting old. Our cells getting old because your mitochondria is getting old. It's getting old every minute. So we're talking right now, unless you know the way to prevent it. And don't worry, I'm not that kind of scientist that talk about science and that cannot translate into medicine. I'm talking about real world here. So you will be able to prevent aging by the end of my lecture, if you pay attention. So we start with these organelles, the powerhouse of our cells. So why is getting old? Okay. What is the function of mitochondria? It's oxidize. It means it digests your food at cellular level. Anytime you eat, mitochondria will change your food into energies. And at the same time, it causes the mitochondria to make oxidative stress, reactive oxygen species. We have to breathe oxygen in. Why we have to breathe the air full of oxygen? Because we use these oxygens for the mechanisms that we burn our food into energy. Without oxygen, we are dying. But too much of oxygen, your mitochondria will develop oxidative stress. How we gonna prevent it? Okay. For some of you who keep taking pictures, please log into www.heatantiaging.com. Aging without E though, not it's American style. Heatantiaging.com and send your email to my assistant, Mr. MJ. Ask for all entire slides set, and you will get one. Okay? He will email you my PDF file, so you don't have to take pictures anymore. You can enjoy listening. So you want to keep your mitochondria young. It must have food. You need to eat food that provide you with antioxidants. We are getting old because we eat food. The mitochondria will metabolize our food into energies and cause oxidative stress. So the first rule of longevity is eat less, you live longer. To make sure you're listening, please repeat after me. Eat less, we live longer. So, eat less. I want to see food left on your plate today, okay? Or just on top. Energy intake is minimized, but you need to have enough qualities and quantities of micronutrients and vitamins, okay? We need micronutrients. We don't need sugar. We don't need a lot of fat. There's a good fat and bad fat, and I gave that lectures so many times before, but today we focus on calorie restriction. And it's scientific proof. They are twins. These monkeys are twins, share the same genetic in everything. On the one side, this monkey on this side, they eat everything, no calorie restrictions. But on this side, the monkey has been starved. Okay, the study has been done only 27 years, but you have to applaud. This is a keynote studies that's present in science to show that calorie restrictions can keep longevity. Of course, in monkey, but it's not different from human. Eat less and we will achieve longevity. Okay? So the first rule is so difficult. So what is the mediators? Now we're gonna go to science. It's called sirtuin. When we eat, the body will stop transcriptional factors called FOXO from enter the cells. You know, anytime we eat, the body will start making bad genes. Why? The body has adapted. In the past, talk about 1,000 years ago, people cannot eat 3 times a day. And talk about eating meat, come on, they don't even have refrigerators to keep it. So anytime they kill animals, the entire village have to help eating the whole animals until they know how to use salt to storage some things into ham and all that. So we talk about the genes. Our body has certain genes to prevent us from dying from starvation. But now because food is plenty, this gene somehow has been turned off. So by doing calorie restrictions, you would turn on this gene. But anytime you continue eating and eating and eating, these genes will be turned off. So you have to choose between longevity genes or pro-aging genes by calorie restriction. But I told you, this, I want it to be real. Scientists just learn and tell you the theory without knowing how to biohack it. The genes say we're gonna do this. You know, everyone, you know the hacking, the computer hacking. The program say one thing, but we can hack it. We can make the program switch into another thing. What about you already ate your food this morning, but you tell your body that you haven't eaten anything? Biohacking? Yes, it's very practical. Turn out we have the second enzyme that called sirtuin. It's a histone deacetylase that can bypass FOXO. So the FOXO is not working, don't worry. The sirtuin will go and enhance longevity. 20 years ago, Dr. David Sinclair discovered a small molecule called resveratrol. It's a part of the grape nut seeds, grape skin extract, that found in the red wine, and became something called French paradox, and why French people live long and stay young, because they drink wine every day. Some certain alcohols is not that bad. It's contained red resveratrol. So that's my first supplement for you, but not red wine though. Right now we can make grape skins and extract into resveratrol in Thailand. I'm the pioneer of it. So you go to Thailand, you buy resveratrol, excuse me, from me, so, and you live long. And you pretend to forget that you already ate a lot of food. Then you take resveratrol 250 milligrams a day. So that's the first anti-aging medicines that we call caloric reduction mimetics. Okay. 250 milligrams. Yeah, but if you eat too much, like someone in this room, maybe you need 500 milligrams. And someone may need 1,000 milligrams.
Too much is harmful. Too much of resveratrol is harmful.
Well, you mean too much of what?
More than 500.
No. We already, we studied in mice though, by the way, and it turns out you can eat up to 5,000 milligrams without any problem. Calculate the body weight from mice to human. But anyway, what the side effect of resveratrol would happen would come from, because it upregulates certain genes and downregulates certain genes. It downregulates inflammation genes, and you don't want too much resveratrol because then you need inflammation somewhat, right? And you don't upregulate good genes, and you don't want to upregulate too much good genes. The one side effect that they found from resveratrol come from the stimulants of AMP kinase. Resveratrol will upregulate the genes called AMP kinase, which is good thing if it's not too much. The functions of AMP kinase is inhibit mTOR, enhance apoptosis of cancer cells, enhance autophagy. So it means resveratrol can kill cancer, help you prevent cancer. But mTOR also needs, when your body needs to move forward, need to divide the cells. So the body needs mTOR, and sometimes they don't need mTOR. When you are sick, the body to fix itself, you need mTOR. But when you are healthy, your body don't need mTOR. So it's not like resveratrol, too much resveratrol is always good. One side effect of resveratrol I found is hypoglycemia, because this AMPK thing is an action of another anti-diabetic drug called metformin. And that's why people try to tell, oh, metformin is anti-aging, metformin is anti-aging. Before you say that in front of my face, you need to know the mechanism of metformin. When someone tries to, oh, I know everything, metformin is an anti-aging drug, and then you just ask them, what is the mechanism? And he said, oh, they don't know yet. They know for decades. It's you who don't know anything. So, when someone tries to say, oh, efficacy and anti-aging without knowing mechanism is not true. Actually, one mechanism of metformin is activations of AMPK. So it's reduced blood sugar. So when I prescribe resveratrol, be aware that people who already practice calorie restrictions, their hemoglobin A1C like 5.1, and sometimes when you prescribe resveratrol, when they try resveratrol, they develop symptoms of hypoglycemia. Okay, so that's, if you already do calorie restrictions and fasting, you probably don't need resveratrol. And mechanisms like fasting, which I'm going to tell you next, why and what kind of people we don't want to do fasting, and that type of people we should not give them resveratrol. Okay, that's called fasting. Because calorie restrictions every single day is difficult to do, I cannot. Because then we eat good meals, we talk about partying, right? You bring your families together, and what you're gonna do? Oh, Dr. Patana told me eat less, you live longer. Today, I feed nothing but beans. Having calorie restriction party, no one is gonna show up. In my event that's called HIT Congress in August, we feed you like crazy. We make sure your phosphogenes is dead. I mean, we feed you like crazy. You can eat like an entire army. But then I'm gonna tell you, tomorrow stop eating. We call intermittent fasting. Eat today, fasting tomorrow. Having fun today, take a break tomorrow. But please don't do like some of the songs and tomorrow devil comes. Or today, oh, we're gonna do it tomorrow. And then when the other day say, oh, we're gonna do it tomorrow. Please, tomorrow has to come someone, okay? We call intermittent fasting. You can do it every day for 16 hours. For example, what time you have breakfast in general? 10 a.m., perfect. 10 plus 8 is 18. So make sure that you eat between 10 and 18. And after 18, which is 6 p.m. tonight until 10 a.m. tomorrow, don't eat anything but water. No calories, no fruit, no nuts or anything. Okay, calorie free. So that's called intermittent fasting for 16 hours that you can do every day. Some people do alternate days. Okay. What happens is when you eat 8 days, the body will refuel itself, use oxygen, create oxidative stress. So you need to have food filled with antioxidant. But then, when you fast for 16 hours a day, what happens is the body stops making insulin. So your pancreas can revitalize. The body starts making glucagon. And what is glucagon do? Is digest your fat away. Fasting is the best way to get rid of fatty liver, fatty in your omentum, visceral fat. If you do it right, you will lose weight. Just keep telling yourself, tomorrow must come. I will fast. But why don't start today? 16 hours a day. And you will lose weight. Okay? And also stimulate growth hormone. During this fast, you're fasting, there's a two process going on. mTOR inhibitions and autophagy stimulation. So, this is when you eat. This is when you fast. This is when you eat. Okay? So, intermittent fasting allows you to enhance autophagy and inhibit mTOR. Let me talk about autophagy. What is autophagy? When your organelle is getting old within your cells, like you have aging mitochondria, you cannot keep the mitochondria with abnormal genes. Mitochondria has its own DNA, because then you can develop cancer start from bad genes. The best way to do is getting rid of it. How the bodies get rid of bad organelles within the cells, we call autophagy. And the best way to enhance autophagy is stop eating, allow the body to recycle itself. One of the 12 biomarkers of aging is called ER stress and loss of proteostasis. It means the bad proteins misfolding because of oxidative stress within the cells and became aggregate within the cells. When people getting older, we look at in regular microscope, see a bunch of the protein we use staining. One of the proteins that accumulate in the brain is called tau protein, and that's the cause of Alzheimer's. How we get rid of these tau proteins? By fasting. So the body will autophagy these tau proteins, and hopefully your cell will be new again. It's better yet if you can kill these bad cells and hopefully leave space for the good cells to grow back again. That process called senolytic. I'm not going to give lectures on senolytic today. You have to wait in April to go to see me in Koshi, okay? If you want to hear about senolytic, okay? But today we talk about mitochondrial biogenesis, and in April we'll give you lectures called senolytic, okay? I told you that, oh, you don't want to fast, you don't want to do calorie restriction, eat resveratrol. And once again, you have to improve your proteolysis process, take spermidine. Okay, spermidine will enhance your autophagy process in combination with resveratrol. So it means your young cells to become the old cells to become a bit of younger cells again. Okay. But by the way, all of these supplements I tell you I'm doing myself, including fasting. I told you that fasting enhances autophagy and meanwhile inhibit mTOR. mTOR actually is the proto-oncogene. It allows cells to divide. So we need mTOR somehow. But if we have so much mTOR, the cell that too much divided can turn into cancer cell. So mTOR stimulation is useful for our survival, for our growth. But mTOR inhibition is useful for our survival. So we want intermittent mTOR. When the body needs to be fixed, we use mTOR, we eat our food, get micronutrients. But then when we take a break, like we take a break from eating, then the mTOR is supposed to stop. Don't eat all day long. Take some fasting and you inhibit mTOR. And right now there's some mTOR inhibitors and some people start using it as well. However, fasting is contraindicated if the body needs mTOR, same as resveratrol that you asked me. Pregnant, lactating women, children, adolescents, they need to grow, heavy exercise, infections. When you recover from diseases, you need mTOR so the body can grow and move forward. But you don't need mTOR all the time because then the cancer will forward. You understand the process of how to keep mitochondria young, calorie restrictions. If you cannot do that, intermittent fasting. If you want supplement, resveratrol, spermidine. And what else? The famous one that's coming in the market lately is called NAD, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. The reason because resveratrol stimulates a protein synthesis cell called sirtuin, and sirtuin actually is the NAD-dependent histone deacetylase enzyme. So, in sirtuin that stimulates is required NAD. You cannot use only resveratrol if the body doesn't make NAD, then it's not working. Histone deacetylase has to work, and it requires NAD. Recent study shows that NAD lately has been reduced in people who get older. NAD actually is vitamin B3. It's made from niacin, vitamin B3, but it became the active form of vitamin B3. Any of you ever take vitamin B3 called niacin, higher dose, you can develop very itchy skin, we call flushing skin, and that's a side effect. But with NAD, it's safer. So now, scientists know that when we older, our NAD level decline and became another anti-aging supplements these days. NAD decline is another hallmark of aging. Right now, we have the method to measure NAD within our red cell, which is quite expensive, by the way. And the study showed that boosting NAD level is beneficial for lifespan in animals and probably in humans too. So how are we going to do that? Once again, come back to fasting, healthy diet, and exercise. Lifestyle always be the key of longevity. But then again, I like to trick people who always talk about lifestyle. Lifestyle sometimes is a false optimism. It means you don't face your real world because no one can do a perfect lifestyle. Oh, lifestyle. I see the guy who talk about, oh, lifestyle medicine is good. Lifestyle medicine is good. And behind everyone, when he thought that no one see him, he started eating pizza and drinking alcohol. So, lifestyle only, I mean no one can do it. So just shut up, okay? And face the real world. That we need something, we need help, like resveratrol, spermidine, and now. So that's why we became from calorie restriction into a fasting, because intermittent fasting is easier than calorie restrictions. You cannot eat NAD because it's badly absorbed, but you can eat NMN, okay, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and the body will make NAD out of it, or you can have NAD injections. This is a very famous and popular practice in Thailand right now. So, sirtuin is the histone deacetylase enzyme that helps upregulate good genes. So, first you need sirtuin, right? The body, everyone has sirtuin, but it's just sleep. You want to stimulate sirtuin, you need resveratrol. But resveratrol alone will not work unless your sirtuin has NAD. Make it simple. You have a car. Can your car run by itself? No. You need a driver. The driver is resveratrol. But if your car didn't have gas, will it run because you have driver? No. So your car also needs gas, and the gas is NAD. So there's a triad of sirtuin, NAD, and resveratrol. The car, the gas, and the driver have all three, and you stay young. When we talk about mitochondria has oxidative stress, how mitochondria can prevent itself from getting old? Because within the mitochondria, they make coenzyme Q10. However, when you reach 40 years of age, or some of you in this room who's taking statin drug, the body can no longer make mitochondria. It cannot longer make coenzyme Q10 very well. It means your mitochondria is getting old fast. Prevent that is easy. Just take coenzyme Q10 supplements like me every day, 100 milligrams a day. But if you have heart failures already, I'm sorry, or you have bad brain, you may need 200 or 300 milligrams. But for someone anti-aging that's been taking mitochondria for life, 100 milligrams is enough. When you order CoQ10 after 40 years old, the CoQ10's production will be less in mitochondria. Enhance it very easy. Take coenzyme Q10 supplement for your antioxidant as for your mitochondria. And people who take statin, HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors, it will inhibit productions of mitochondria productions of coenzyme Q10 by half. It's means everyone who takes statin, you need more coenzyme Q10. So that's another anti-aging supplement for you guys, which is easy to find, coenzyme Q10. 100 milligrams. The studies, plenty of the studies shows that coenzyme is benefit from the heart because your heart requires more mitochondria than any other organs in the body, and also the brain. Now, the last part of my talk, we talk about how to prevent your mitochondria from aging. But some of you, just like me, already over 60 years old, and your mitochondria is already aged. How can you switch your aging mitochondria, revitalize it, and become young mitochondria? Sound crazy, huh? But scientists know it's called mitochondria biogenesis. We can then make our mitochondria new again. By the process of biogenesis, create new healthy mitochondria. Fusion the new mitochondria with the old one, so the old one became new. Or eat up autophagy the old mitochondria. You are old, you are useless, goodbye. There's a lot of scientific studies show that our body can regenerate mitochondria using all of these pathways. So now the focus on longevity supplement has focused on this biochemical pathway that how can we make it happen? Start with fasting, and then lifestyle again, exercise. But like I told you before, exercise is bullshit. Exercise, you should exercise. You said, and no one there. You know, I hate exercise just like you do, but I try to tell myself that it's good for me, so I try. So I eventually had to hire a trainer. So if I don't show up, it's that guy who called me, hey, come, move your ass, exercise at once. Okay. It needs push. So we need something more simple. Again, supplements. We need something for mitochondrial biogenesis, and then I already talked about, when I talk about urolithin A, we need energy productions, coenzyme Q10, resveratrol, and mitophagy. Start with urolithin A. You know these fruits, right? Very common in the Middle East. It's called pomegranate. Don't eat pomegranate juice. You have to eat the entire pomegranate seeds. Okay. Within the seeds contain polyphenols that when you eat pomegranate seeds, so the way I eat pomegranate is I cut it open, I use spoon and scoop up all the seeds. That's my longevity secret. When it enters the stomach and go to the bowels, the bacteria will switch the pomegranate seeds, polyphenols, into the substance called urolithin A. So actually urolithin is postbiotics. And don't forget to visit theheatantiaging.com so you don't have to take pictures. We have the beautiful pictures sent to your email. Okay? Contact MJ. Don't eat pomegranate juice because it contains sugar, and sugar is toxin. Eat entire pomegranate seeds, but make sure you have good bacteria in your gut. Okay, in my country it's easier. I just take urolithin A supplement, so I don't have to keep buying pomegranate because pomegranate is more expensive than urolithin A. Okay, supplement in urolithin shows that increased muscle endurance, is antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, is pro-mitophagy, and stimulate the mitochondria, kill mitochondria, and biogenesis of new mitochondria. So when you go to the Middle East area, the pomegranate is very cheap. Don't eat juice, eat the seeds. Okay? Another supplement that chose to support mitochondrial biogenesis is called OPQQ, which is been around for 10 years. Okay, pyroquinone, which structure is similar to coenzyme Q10. But the study in mice showed that by taking these supplements, the mitochondria can revitalize and divide itself. How come mitochondria can divide itself? Because mitochondria has its own genome. So the cell is not nucleus. Mitochondria has its own genome. Your cells can divide after 10 mitochondria, it can be 20, it can be 40 mitochondria can divide itself. You give them BioPQQ. The last topic of my talk, because we're here to talk about oxygens. Of course, your body not need oxygen, but too much oxygen means oxidative stress. We have yin and yang in our practice, and some people forgot. Yin and yang. You have sun, light, but you also have moon and darkness. You have hot and you have cold. If you take only hot shower, change your practice. Okay, when you take hot shower, it enhances blood flow. Have you ever tried to switch it to cold? It will relieve pain and inflammation. So don't use hot shower if you have pain. Hot showers give you blood flow. So body can fix itself, but then you switch it to cold. When you go to the sauna, they have a hot tub and a cold tub. You need to use both. Start with the hot tub, and the cold tub will relieve pain. It's refreshing. Try that. People even put the ice into a bathtub. That's called yin and yang of medicine. You already practiced, right? Hot and cold bathtubs. I talk about intermittent fasting. You eat yin and then you fast. That yang, right? So the body can survive and the body can grow. So we have cold and heat. We have fasting and eating. We have oxygen that we need, but we also have hypoxia. Turns out that if you go to America, you know which state that people live longest. You know you're gonna live long or not, just check your zip code. Colorado, Denver. Because it's high above sea level, it's hypoxia. What happens when you have oxygen and no oxygen? This is what happens. When you have hypoxia, the body will stimulate angiogenesis. But you don't want too much hypoxia and angiogenesis because the angiogenesis means cancer. The blood will feed cancer. So you need to have oxygen and no oxygen, yin and yang. Okay? It increases cell death. Okay? And it enhances erythropoiesis. So, a new method right now is called hyperoxia, hypoxia. It's developed in Germany. It means you have high oxygen level like ozone, and then you have hypoxia. Oxygen in this ambient room is usually 20%. You cut it down to 10% to allow the body to adapt. I use it for, surprisingly, people with stroke and heart disease. I told them, bypass without surgery. Because with the double signal that you have hypoxia, the body will try to make new blood vessels to your heart. This machine called hypoxia hyperoxia. So you under hypoxia, and you do it for 45 minutes, you under hypoxia for about 30, and hyperoxia, hyperoxygen for about 15. This is me. Okay, so I use this machine to increase hypoxia because it will increase my nitric oxide stimulation, increase my vascular contractors, increase erythropoiesis. Contraindication is cancer because it increases new blood vessels. If you have cancer, go to do ozone or hypothymia. Okay. What happened when I use it? I feel stronger. If you want to climb the mountains in Kashmir, you want to go to Kashmir, you should have this machine. You need to practice hypoxia. What is the area that above Kashmir? Start with L. Yeah, right. Haven't ever been there. I want to be there, but I have to practice hypoxia first to make sure my body is strong enough to handle. So yin and yang of everything. Okay, we have hyperoxia and we have hypoxia. So this is a new machine that I would like to introduce you because we need to know a new thing by coming to learn it. But you say, I don't have money to buy a machine. Easy. Go to Lucknow. What is it again? Ladakh. Okay. You don't have to buy a machine. Spend time in Ladakh. Come back to Mumbai. Spend time in Ladakh. Okay. And there's a new story too, and because it's very cold, when you have a very live under stress of the cold weather for a long time, the body will start making brown adipose tissue, and when you come back with brown adipose tissue, you will lose weight. You see, yin and yang of medicine that we talk about. People ask me all the time about anti-aging and longevities. The problem is you have to believe, you have to practice. It's a lifetime. It's not like a one magic pill. It's a lifetime. So, first of all, it has to be said. You cannot take metformin and statin and keep believing it that it's a longevity medicine because the side effect will kill you. Supplements that they talk about today has no side effect if it prepared correctly. Hypoxia, if you do it briefly, has no side effect. So you also, when you do it right correctly, has no side effect. Because longevity is something you have to practice from the age of 30 to the age of 100 years old or more. It cannot have long-term side effects. So when someone tries to prescribe you certain drugs called longevity medicine, ask if there are any long-term side effects. Okay, so first of all, you have to believe. Lifestyle also important. I know it's a bullshit thing, but you still need to practice it somewhere. You have to practice this. And all the studies show that to achieve longevity medicine, it starts by your nutrients, but more importantly, micronutrients. You need to have micronutrients complete, both minerals and vitamins. When you eat your food, ask yourself what you eat. Just sugar, bad fat, synthetic fat, trans fat, or vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E. Ask yourself what kind of food you eat. And I've been talking about these micronutrients so many times in the past and still continue. Of course, exercise is, everyone hates exercise, myself included, but you need to do it. The way to do exercise is not chopping. How do you know that your exercise is enough? Two things. First, you must have pain. Not exercise injury. Pain. Muscle pain. Okay? If you have muscle pain, it means you exercise okay. So best exercise is about back exercise and leg exercise. Not arms. It's a big muscle exercise like back and legs. So we need to exercise. So first, you need to have pain. Second, you need to be tired. It means how much tired that I'm talking about. So tired you cannot sing karaoke. Okay, so I just watched they talk about this because I watched the Benson Boone show at the Grammy and how could he do that? Do the body twist, rotate, and still sing a song without skipping a beat. It means he's not tired because he's young. Okay, if you jump up and down, aerobic, and then you try to sing a song, believe me, you cannot. Okay, unless you practice. So that is exercise until you're tired. Okay, and until you get pain. Sleep and stress management is also important. If you have trouble sleeping, there's a lot of ways to do. Start with melatonin. You can have 5-HTP, or someone in Thailand, you can have CBD oil, which is, if you use the right one, it's kind of excellent. Stress management. People who tell that I have no stress is, I'm sorry, a liar. Just like I said, lifestyle is bullshit. Everyone must have stress. Stress keeps you going.
Yes.
Yeah, without it. But there's a positive stress and negative stress. You cannot be too pessimistic. You have to change negative stress to positive stress. For example, having children could be stress, but it's a positive stress. You know, some of the parents do just say, oh, fine. But at the end of the day, you know, it's a positive stress. Stress is a must to keep you going. How can you cope with stress? Even the worst one, the loss of your loved one, the loss of your job. I've been succumbed to all this stress in my life. Believe me, I'm not lucky. I wasn't born lucky. But I go through it. I learn to think positive, which is another way of my lectures, another kind of lectures. But to make it short for today, I'd like to tell you that stay in the moment. Tell yourself like this. Our past, learn from it. Learn from the past. Plan for the future. But live in today. Try that. Okay, that's the first thing. And another thing, learn to live with yourself before you learn to live with others. Because some of you still blaming, oh, because of this, because of that. Try blaming yourself first. On Friday, I came here, I missed the flight because the Indian government put it on my e-visa, called me female. Maybe they don't know what difference between female and maybe I'm too pretty, or maybe I have sex change operation. I went to the airport. They didn't give me the boarding pass. They called the Indian government and they asked me, they tried to fix it. By the time the new visa arrived, it's too late. The gate is closed, so I have to switch my arriving date from Friday to last night, Saturday. And all this time, like I told you, you laugh about me. Oh, you laugh at me? Okay, fine, thank you. I laugh at it. It's already happened. You can screaming, and not gonna help you, right? You make a plan. Okay, if my new visa coming in time, I get on the airplane. If it's not, switch the flight to tomorrow. What can I lose? At least I don't lose my mind. Whatever happened, my lecture is on Sunday anyway, not Saturday. So that's it. Laugh at it. Everyone has stress. It happens. But how you could cope with it, that's more important. Okay, figure it out. You need to stay in healthy environments. It's bad for India and bad for Thailand. We are both countries that's high PM 2.5. So what can we do, right? All I can do is just try to travel outside Bangkok a lot. Go to Samui, go to Melbourne. Keep myself in a healthy environment. But more importantly, you need to have a healthy relationship. And that's why I say you need to learn to live with yourself before you learn with others. If you're always blaming people, because of that person, because of these people, I'm not happy because of them. You know what? You have to be happy when you are on your own. When you eat alone, because no one wants to eat with you, whatever, happy. When you eat with someone else, then you'll be happy. I know a lady said, if you come back, I will be happy. I will fix everything that I caused. And I told her that if you cannot be happy with yourself, how the hell you expect someone to live with you and be happy? It will be miserable. You are different from mine. I have different life, you have different things to do, and all of this room are different. So that's why everyone must have your own self-mastery and wellness and happiness. It's you who are the best doctor for yourself, and that's the key to longevity. Thank you so much for let's get back to some of these cell killers coming in Koshi in April. We have time to answer the questions if you have a bit of time.
Questions will wait after the session.
Okay, fine.
Sure. Hey.
I
I request Dr. Lamberture to please come on the stage and felicitate our speaker. Come. Almost. He was our keynote speaker for Ozone from Italy.
Thank you so much.
It was a wonderful lecture. We have Dr. Vipul Kakkad, who wants to just add from a yoga perspective on hyperoxia and hypoxia. Dr. Vipul.
Yeah, good morning, thank you. It was an excellent lecture. The take-home message I think you must have received. So just one thing, yin and yang. So in our traditional yogasana, Patanjali and everywhere, it has mentioned when you breathe from right nostril, it will generate heat. So it is yang. And when you breathe from left nostril, Chandra Nadi and Surya Nadi. So Chandra Nadi is cool down your body. So whatever sir has explained scientifically, I would just wanted to some inputs. Second, hypoxia. So suppose we do pranayam. So first we do Kapalbhati. So Kapalbhati is hyperventilation. Okay. After each and Kapalbhati, you are supposed to relax for 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe up to 80 seconds. In that time, you are not going to inhale, you are not going to exhale. That is hypoxia effect, what you are creating in your body, and you feel the experience. After doing 500 or 5000 strokes of Kapalbhati at a stretch for 5 to 15 minutes, you will feel hyperventilation signs and symptoms, being a doctor. And when you release the last Kapalbhati, we call it as Rachel, then you just don't breathe for a few seconds. Somebody can take over to 10 seconds up to 80 seconds also, and you feel the hypoxic effect in your body at that moment. Now you are out of thought, means you cannot think anything at that time if still you want to thought. So hypoxia you can create at home while doing pranayam also. So I will say excellent lecture of the conference. And lastly, high altitude. Our saints or whatever are going to do meditation, and we also go to high altitude. We have that vibes. Whether it is Manas Sarovar, whether it is Himalaya or Nega, right? Thank you for doing it.
I hope that you guys are enjoying. ENT and head of neck and surgeon. He's a founder of Wellness Solutions, Sakya Foundation, INMA, Bio Well Functional Hospitals, Nutrigenomics, AHAM, Palliative, Wellness Hospital. He is the author of a book, The Brahmastra. My God, sir, आपकी book पे तो movie नहीं बनी है? All right, so over to Dr. Shri Kumar. Can I have a louder clap for him? Thank you.
So good morning. After a wonderful lecture from Dr. Patana, he was talking about mitochondria and biogenesis of mitochondria. I'll go deep further into how the link happening between the mitochondria and the DNA. So we are talking about something, a new field, which is because for the last 2 days you all heard about people talking about metabolism, metabolic derangement, and metabolism is affecting your health, and you can say metabolic maybe regeneration or maybe through the various nutrients you can correct the metabolism. But correcting the metabolism itself it may be difficult to prevent or cure or reverse the disease. So what is the point of doing, how you can reverse a disease? Yesterday we were talking about, I think Sunita has given a lecture on diabetic reversal. But how can you reverse diabetes without changing your gene expression? So this is rising up. Now the gene has gone, genetics has come, and epigenetics, which is the gene expression. So I will just give you a highlight on how this is going to affect your health, your life, and your disease process. So this is the era of genetics and epigenetics. So I think already Patna has told about the conference which is happening in Cochin. So I wish all of you come there and attend this, how to link nutrigenomics and metabolomics for the prevention, treatment, and reversal. This is going to be the medicine of today and tomorrow. So we have to understand how. I'll just give you a brief about what is happening. So we have a pre-conference workshop, especially on how to practice this nutrigenomics in day-to-day life with education. So if you are going further, deeper into yourself, you can see that you are a person. And first of all, you have to, Patna has already said, you have to love yourself, you have to think about yourself, you have to see that problem is within you. So you have the physical self. Inside your body or inside your physical self, you can see that there is a metabolism happening. So what is this metabolism? You can say biochemistry, millions of biochemical reactions happening every minute, which is controlled by hormones. And who is controlling the hormones? It is the expression of your genes. So you can see that, okay, from there to the gene expression. And already Patna has talked about mitochondrial genes. Now these two genes work together. Every cell has got mitochondria. Maybe the mitochondria has to divide. And maybe number of mitochondria in a cell will go on fluctuating. Your cardiac cell is having more than 10,000 mitochondria inside one cell. So that means as per your need, you can, especially when you do exercise, you can increase the mitochondrial number, that is called mitochondrial biogenesis. But there is always a crosstalk between the genes and the mitochondrial genes. So that is why the genes, especially when you talk about the genes from the DNA, they are having a discussion with the DNA of the mitochondrial genes. So the gene expression and the genetics. The gene expression is actually controlled by the genetics, which you know that your genes and my genes are the same. But only difference is in the expression of the genes. So that is why you call it epigenetics. So health is your life, and if you have good health, you have a good life, and if your life should be balanced. You can see the division, cell division that is happening. So it is not the mitochondria to the cell division. So somebody initiates, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and 4 becomes 16 and go on. And that is the course and the flow of your life. But in between, there is a checks and the blocks. And this is the problem, especially you are seeing today, because a lot of things are blocking the process of your life. And final effect you are seeing is a lot of, as we call it as lifestyle disease or communicable disease. And you can see diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, neurodegenerative disease, and all these things are coming in a big way. And communicable disease, especially infective and epidemics and pandemics. And thanks to COVID, when the COVID has changed the horizon of the world, especially in healthcare, because a lot of people understood what is going to happen. It is not just giving some medicine, it is you have to correct at the genetic level. So the question is, what went wrong for human being? Who is at fault? Why we are having all lifestyle diseases? Is it genetics? Is it epigenetics? Is it the development of science and technology, which has made us in such a big fashion here? Is it the environment? Or is it the lifestyle, which actually Patna was talking about bullshit, but is the lifestyle the cause? Or your focus? Because I would say the focus of a doctor has gone, because we focus on diseases and organs, but you have to go deeper. So if it is none of the above, or any of the above, or all of the above, so that means I believe in all of the above. Everything counts. So it is like there is no magic bullets in health and life. So you have to understand all these things if you want to create a better life. So we have a health solution. We call it as epigenetic re-engineering program, or ERP. It has to be there when food is medicine and diet is the interface. Variety of food and adaptogens is there, which you can adapt yourself to various things. And the nutrition that you are getting, or the food that is going to be given, is not a diet for disease or diet for anybody, common diet or general diet. It should be for your genes. You have to eat for your genes. That is why we call epinutrients. So these nutrients have to work at the epigenetic level. The epigenetics should be there to rebalance your cell metabolism. Somebody, when I was talking in Indian Medical Association, they asked, what are you doing? I said, I rebalance the cellular metabolism. So nobody can say anything. So it is rebalancing the metabolism at the cellular level. So the most important chemical reaction, epigenetics that comes to chemistry, is called methylation. It deals with health and well-being. So if you want to master the epigenetic re-engineering program, you have to understand what is methylation. Methylation links gene, genomes and biochemistry, synchronized internal and external environment, precision health achievable only through rebalancing the methylation reactions at your body. So who controls your life? You can see that we have the air, water, food and environment. But there is one thing that is coming in between, that is your genes. And then that controls your hormones, biochemistry, health or disease. You can see that it is the genes that is actually coming in between the environment and inside you. So internal environment and the external environment has to be corrected, and for this you have to have the genes in place, that is the interface. So why the nutrients are not working sometimes? You can see that nutrients influence your genes, and it has got two types of output. One is good and one is bad. But why this is happening? Because there is, when the nutrient, before nutrient comes to your genes, somebody is interfering with its actions. So we call that interaction with the action and not parallel action. So that is why you have to control, okay, how the nutrients are being fed into your genes. So one has to imagine that what is there fed on your plate. So the science behind life has to be explained, because origin to the end of life. Genes, epigenetics, nutrition and biochemistry. Genes control biochemistry through epigenetics. And these are dependent on the nutrients that is available. We call it as epinutrients. And the real interface of genes, biochemistry and life is nothing but methylation. So what is methylation? The first line essential biochemical process in the transmission of life. It affects various diversity of various molecules, organs and individuals. Regulate early and late embryo development, even at the developmental stage. It works also. Methylation has got a very important role. So power of methylation is, it is like biochemistry. It acts like life, what happens in billions of times per second in every cell in your body. So that is controlled by methylation. It acts like billions of switches that can turn on or off. So you can see this regulate your mood, detoxify your hormones, and produce energy and promote healthy aging, and altered by diet and environment. So this is the famous methylation cycle, Gasko methylation cycle. You can see, I will be explaining because this is like a gear of a car. So various gears are put into practice, then only your life will go on. From left to right, I will just give a brief about what is what. So you can see towards the left-hand side, you can see the homocysteine cycle. So you can see this is the what you call the homocysteine cycle, and from there comes the glutathione is manufactured here, then comes folate cycle, BH4 cycle, and finally the urea cycle is coming, and finally all this is controlled by. So now you can see Krebs cycle comes here. So the energy production from the mitochondria, energy for these activities, you need energy. That is why these two are controlled differently. So you can see the combination of one carbon cycle. That means it is a homocysteine cycle and a folate cycle. I want to put this here because you have to see all the nutrients involved here. Forget about what are the chemical reactions. You can see the B6, B12, zinc, and all these minerals and vitamins have got important role in your epigenetic pathway, especially in the methylation cycle. So without this, you cannot expect any folate cycle to be correct, or you can see the carbon, or especially you can see the methylation, or especially the homocysteine cycle. So what happens sometimes, you can see in cardiac problems, you can see high homocysteine, and you can see the congenital defect, you can see the folate problems. So all these things are being controlled by mineral intake. So the micronutrients are basically very, very essential to, especially in this biochemical methylation and folate cycle. So this is one of the most famous urea cycle, especially people know that, because ammonia is formed by the breakdown of amino acids. So what happens? It goes to the liver and converted into two pathways, and finally urea is produced, which is actually pumped from the liver and can go through the kidney and also go through the intestine, so that it is thrown out. So this is, if this is not being kept, that is why you can see, because when we do in emergency, we can see ammonia level is going up. So how to bring down the ammonia? That is one of the biggest defect, especially when you see in most of the lifestyle disease when it comes. So it has got various stages, especially the mitochondrial state and the cytoplasmic state. So the urea cycle is actually connected with the folate cycle and the methylation cycle, and then comes the urea cycle. In between comes the role of BH4. So actually the BH4 cycle, which you have mentioned, because this is controlling almost everything. So you can see from BH synthesis, it is going down, and you can see on one side it is actually involved in nitric oxide, and on the other side it is involved in, so you can see from the neurotransmitters, phenylalanine into thymus, into L-DOPA, and all these things we talk about, happiness hormones and everything, is controlled by this. Immune response and pain sensitivity, everything depends on the BH4, and host defense and the formation of lipids, diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol, atherosclerosis and aging. Everything depends upon the pathway here. So autism, ADHD, hypertension, endothelial dysfunction, chronic kidney disease are all actually produced, especially when this pathway is blocked. So the basics in the epigenetic reprogramming, you have to understand the drug methylation, then you have to see the neurotransmitters, then the hormones, synthesis and repair of the myelin proteins, energy production, mobilization of fat and cholesterol for elimination and gene transcription. So this is the basics that comes especially in the ERP. So you can see that methylation promotes DNA expression, detoxification, and neurotransmitter synthesis. These are very essential. I think the imbalanced methylation will lead to cancer, cardiovascular disease, neurological disease, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease. So even for the detoxification, methylation is essential. That is why Dr. Ney will be talking on methylation maybe after detoxification after this. So he will be touching mainly what are the detoxification which happens at the epigenetic level. So for the factors affecting all these things have been told even for the mitochondria. You can see diet, you can see the excess animal protein, saturated fat, sugars, coffee and alcohol actually influence in the negative way, especially on methylation. So lack of cofactor is driving methylation. So you can see the low zinc, magnesium and B6. These are the three major important minerals and vitamins that is actually affecting your methylation. Medications like antacids, especially oral proton pump inhibitors, lowers your B12, and oral contraceptive pills and diuretics, poor digestion and leaky gut. Smoking depletes your folic acid and acetylmethionine. Niacin, excessive nicotinic acid, induced methyl consumption, oxidative stress, and insulin resistance. I think that is very well explained in the slide of Dr. Patna. So, environmental toxins like alcohol, yeast, heavy metals, all these things affect methylation. Genetic mutations like MTHFR, CVS, COMT, and MS-MTR. So, if you want to understand the genetic mutation, if this is mutated, all these mutations can be reversed also. So, that is the most important thing, especially mutation at the epigenetic level. High cyanine leads to reduced endogenous levels, especially via negative feedback. High cysteine leads to reduced endogenous levels via again negative feedback. High oral or intravenous glutathione also leads to reduced endogenous levels. So, when people give too much of glutathione to the body, I am against it, because you can give at any level, because the only thing is that you have to see that it has to be under proper control. So you can see the concluding remarks. You can say the healthcare, precision health is epigenetics plus metabolism, which is health and well-being. Precision health is a reality, and measurement of health. How can you measure health? It is by quality of life. So the quality of life is the most significant thing, especially it is not how much you live. You can live 100 years, longevity, but you have to live in a better life. So precision functional health, so the functional medicine, in a very more precise way, it is functional genomics, epigenetic nutrients, cellular biochemistry, biophysics and molecular metabolism. So biology plus chemistry plus physics, and this is actually the real medicine. So that is, I think with this remarks, I am closing my topic. Thank you very much.
Sir, be on the stage only. We'll just facilitate him, sir. Thank you.
Alright, so before having the next lecture, why not have some entertainment? Are you guys excited? No, I'm not getting the yesterday wala energy. Are we excited? That's my energy. Alright, now let's find the luckiest doctor for day 2, that who will grab the next spot prize. Can I have the spin wheel up on the screen? Alright, everybody, fingers crossed. Let's see who will grab the first spot prize of the day 2. Alright, can I have the screen? Alright, 3, 2, 1 and spin the wheel. Stop. And the first lucky is Dr. Parul Pare. Absent? It's just gone. Anybody on behalf of her? Yes. Please. Can I have a louder clap for Dr. Parul Pare? Now, that's Ozone ka jalwa. Moving on to our next spot prize. Can we have one more spin? Yes. Stop, please. Miss Sangeeta Verma. Not there? Alright. Okay, spin it again. Will spin. No partiality. Will spin, come on. हम व्हील थोड़ा एडजस्ट कर लेते हैं. डॉक्टर सुनील जैन. All right. Who's here? Can I have a louder clap for Dr. Sunil? Alright, I guess you are not that lucky now. You have to be more lucky. Okay, before the next lecture is on role of oral challenges and importance of detox by Dr. Lenny DeCosta. Can I have a louder clap for him, everyone? Dr. Lenny DeCosta is a consultant, geriatrician, preventive cardiologist, and anti-aging and a functional medicine specialist. He did his basic MBBS from the Goa Medical College and completed his specialization in geriatric medicine from the MS Ramaya Medical College, Bangalore. He has further undergone training in the practice of anti-aging and preventive cardiology. He is certified by the International Board of Clinical Mental Toxicology USA and as a FCMD. Dr. Lenny, over to you.
All right, good morning to all of you. I think you had your breakfast. Let's have a louder good morning, please. Good morning. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you, Millie, for giving me 20 minutes. I've not spoken so low and so less on a subject like this, but I'll try and finish it in 20 minutes. My apologies if it's a little rushed. Second, I wanted to get on stage to tell you, see, I believe that you need to take a take-home message. The take-home message is not in the slides, but I'm going to tell you now. The first take-home message is what Dr. Sri spoke of methylation. Methylation gets affected by heavy metals. If you do not detox, no amount of those microminerals are going to help you. And how do you know that you have issues with toxicities? Simple blood test. Your homocysteine is above 10, doesn't get all right in 3 months with those micronutrients or the methylated B vitamins. Please detox your patient. I don't talk of too much of oral chelators. I believe that's a lame excuse to not detox by IV. But today I'm going to speak to you about oral chelators because 90% of the population in this room wouldn't want to do IV and they're scared of doing IV. Right? So I normally talk of good IVs, but let's get on with this. Why do we need to detox? The first question that she'll ask me to talk on. It's because every chronic disease that we see today is due to environmental factors that are affecting it. And the mechanism of actions that cause this is basically inflammation, disrupted insulin signaling, and oxidative stress. And how does that happen? Understand today, we don't have the classical definition of inflammation. Today, inflammation is a number. It's the HSCRP and CRP that tells you you have inflammation. Alright? Earlier we used to talk of color, dolor, rubor, tumor. When I did my pathology, Robin spoke of inflammation as that. But today, it's a number. You can do a blood test and say, hey, your inflammatory stress is high. Tells you that there is something going on in your body which should not be happening. Right? So, one of the basic things that happens is if your insulin signaling is great, then you have good blood sugars, no arterial disease, and your triglycerides that most cardiologists look at are low, so you're healthy. But if your insulin signaling gets disrupted, you have inflammation and oxidative stress, and they feed on each other. And what does it result in? It results in increased blood sugar, diabetes, increased arterial disease, heart disease, and triglycerides, metabolic syndrome. And I believe that if you call any disease a syndrome, modern medicine tells you that if we call this a syndrome, we don't have answers to it. We don't know how it's caused. We don't know how to treat it. And you're not going to be all right at all with what we do. So metabolic syndrome is what you see here when you have an inflammation and oxidative stress. And in functional medicine, after detox, you can treat metabolic syndrome and probably reverse it. 90% of the cases can be reversed if the patient is willing to go through the paces. 90% of the time, like Dr. Patana said beautifully this morning, we don't like to do it. Our lifestyles don't permit it, right? So what happens? You have nutrients, the kind of food that we are eating, which is poison today, that is affecting us. So I'm not talking so much about the saturated fat because some of the saturated fat is good, but what you get on your supermarket shelves isn't good. You have decreased omega, none of us have it, increased omega-6. None of us take antioxidants. In fact, I've got my colleagues, physicians who tell patients what Dr. Lenny prescribes is a waste of money. Alright, and therefore my patients get well wasting money, but none of theirs don't. And eventually they come to me back, alright? So I get this feedback. 90% of our food is high glycemic. If you're hungry, what do you go out and eat? A biscuit. What is it? Pure power. Anything that you look at around you to eat when you're hungry is pure power. So the entire food industry is set up to make you sick. Alright? It's entirely set up to make you sick. Then of course, fructose. You have lovely fruit juices that they give you, no sugar added, but they have high con fructose syrup in them. Alright? Kills you, basically kills you. So, besides this, what else is affecting you? Toxic chemicals. What do they do? Lead leads to inflammation, affects your methylation. Where do you get lead and heavy metals from? We'll come to that. You have pesticides. All your veggies that you're growing, you have pesticides. You know, I used to go to Surat years ago to see cardiac patients. And I used to have this, people used to come to tell me, many of these patients who used to say, Doc, but I'm a Jain, you know. I don't drink, I don't eat non-veg, I don't smoke. How do I get heart disease? And I said, that's the precise reason you get heart disease. Because you eat a lot of veggies which have got a lot of crap in them. So lead directly leads to heart disease. You'll see there's evidence to this, right? Then you have air pollution. You're breathing, for God's sake, heavy metals. You know that you get cadmium in the air because of the radialization of tires that we have today. The tire burns out, you're breathing cadmium. You're breathing lead because our fuels had it for some time. Alright? So, all of this and the endocrine disruptors. I can't stay without saying this. Where's Dr. Millie? She's gone out? Whoever, Jignisha. These plastic bottles that you have kept on the table here all lead to these endocrine disruptors. If you have a pro-aging an anti-aging or a longevity workshop or a conference, please don't keep plastic bottles even if they come from bisleri. Yeah, alright? So, plastic bottles are huge endocrine disruptors. Alright, and finally all of this leads to obesity, which further causes inflammation. Alright, so we'll get out of this. I don't want to talk too much of it. Let's talk about heavy metals. What are the heavy metals? These are elements that have a density 5 times that of water. There are 20 of them, but what affects us most are lead, cadmium, mercury, and arsenic. They are toxic, they damage you at even low concentrations. And now what is the meaning of this? You don't get poisoned by them. It's very low amounts that get in, affect your methylation cycle, and that's where the problem starts. Right? That's where the problem starts. That starts the aging process. Unless you get rid of them, your methylation will not be normal. And as long as your methylation is not normal, whatever else you do, it's not going to help you much. It's going to be temporary. So true longevity is first detox, then add whatever else you want to do. Right? Have you got this? Yes, no? Why do heavy metals affect us? Because we breathe heavy metals, the air is full of it, the food is full of it, and the groundwater is full of it too. Right? The only solution you have, my dear friends, is detoxification. And do I have evidence that this is affecting you? There is lots of evidence. These are studies, I'm not going to go through them because I don't have the time, but I've just put it up here to show you. There's enough and more medical literature. I could go on half a day giving you thousands of them. I've got lots of them on my laptop in my room, but that's not important. It's important to know that heavy metals affect you and you need to detoxify. Okay, so my question on why detoxify is answered here. It affects even the gut. Right? There are lots, and these are all recent studies even, not old. 2019, 2018 telling you that your gut microbiome is even affected by the kind of food that you're eating. And so, if you look at this particular slide, every chronic disease is covered over here. You have inflammatory bowel disease, cancers, atherosclerosis, obesity, liver disease, kidney, cardiac disease, autism, epilepsy, atopic dermatitis, all of it is covered. But how do you know that you have heavy metal toxicity affecting you? Unfortunately, because it's vague symptoms. It starts with chronic fatigue. Hey, this timer is gone, okay, I can't keep a check on it, so it's not my fault. If I overwork. Depression, anxiety, insomnia, digestive problems, hormonal issues, autoimmune disease, and this is on the rise since COVID. Why? Because of the stupid vaccine. Alright? I used to see one autoimmune case in a year when I was a resident, finished my MBBS and doing residency. Before COVID, I used to see 1 or 2 a month. Now I see 4 or 5 a month. Right? And ozone plays a huge role to get rid of the autoimmune disease, but you need to detoxify them as well. So most of these symptoms are vague. You could be suffering from anything. But the root cause, my dear friends, is always metal toxicity, right? So you need to detoxify, that's very important. And therefore, when it comes to heavy metal toxicity, silent symptoms of chronic level heavy metal accumulation in tissues generally progresses from a steady decline of energy. That's your first sign. I start losing my energy. I can't work the whole day. That's your first sign. Productivity and quality of life, to finally looking at diseases like cardiovascular disease, premature dementia, and total debilitation. And unfortunately, in most of our practices, we don't even look at heavy metal toxicity. Even though we have got tools like easy blood tests that can be done on a regular basis. Right? So, let's see what you can do. The solution? Detox. How do we do this? My choice, IV detox. In 3 months, I detoxify you completely. And many of the students who have learned from me on how to do chelation, using various, not just EDTA, but various other chelators, will vouch for it that that's the gold standard to do it. But for those of you who don't want to do it and don't have the time, at least do the oral chelators. And this is, from here, I wanted to take one more take-home message which I'll come to at the end. Let's look at what are the oral chelators that I'm talking about. Alpha-lipoic acid, available in every pharmacy in India, over the counter. N-acetylcysteine, again available in all the pharmacies in India. Can be taken daily. You don't have to pay high price for this. DMSA, not available in India, you need to come to our clinics like ours. It's a master chelator, an oral chelator that every smoker should use. It detoxifies both cadmium and lead beautifully. Chlorella, cilantro, with which most Ayurvedics top off and give you these beautiful 10-day detoxes, which are nothing but humbug, because detox is not a 10-day procedure. It's a lifelong procedure. You need to fire up your body to detoxify. So you need to take the burden out and then help it to detoxify on a regular basis, so that you don't need to keep doing IVs. And finally, the new kid on the block, zeolite. Is Dr. Sunita Kaur in? If she is, thank you for the zeolite. Alright, so let's look at ALA. This is something that you can do. This is something that I do on a regular basis. 600 milligrams daily will detoxify you on a daily basis. It is one chelator, when I do IV, that helps you to chelate the tissues of the brain as well as the tissues of the heart, so water and fat. It's a one chelator that crosses the blood-brain barrier. And so if you have it orally regularly, you are at least reducing the daily burden of heavy metals that you're getting in your body, which start going down slowly. right? So you don't get into a situation where you get sick. Simple one, you can get it across the counter. But what it also does, it also improves your diabetes because it improves insulin sensitivity and it prevents the production of glycation end products. And the other one that it does is it keeps your liver healthy, so your detox pathways, downhill pathways are kept clean. You have cataracts that are taken care of. And let me tell you this, I had the experience of using ALA and the spec on my lens 10 years ago disappeared in 2 years. So this is a master antioxidant and a chelator, oral chelator that you can use. That's why I put it first. And this is the take-home message for you. If you're not doing it, do at least 300 milligrams on a regular basis. You will keep yourself pretty healthy and not get into a point where you are absolutely sick. If you're treating patients, put it on every prescription of yours. Okay? It's easily available in the market. Then you have N-acetylcysteine. This is known as the poor man's glutathione. Again, helps you when your methylation is affected. It's a chelator, it's a weak chelator of mercury. One problem with this though is if it removes mercury from your intracellular spaces or from your tissues, it will not throw it out. So you need to add a little bit of vitamin C, a liposomal vitamin C together with this, so that, or ELA, so that what is removed out of the tissues by NAC can be thrown out of your body. Those are known as true binders. So vitamin C and ELA could be good true binders. Vitamin C, you need to take 5 grams liposomal if you need it to work as a chelator, not 1 and 2 grams. But IV is the best, right? DMSA. This is my go-to for all my autistic kids as well as for all of my skin lesions of any kind, okay, including psoriasis. Beautiful results because many of them have origin in the fact that they have high levels of mercury in them. So it works well with autistic kids, it works well with smokers, and it is excellent if you use it in your wellness protocols. I do it for most of my high-profile patients who don't want to come and do IVs every day, smoke every day, and like Dr. Patana says, they live their life. I say, hey, listen, at least take this once a week, and the next day, sleep it out at home. So if you take it once a day, once a week, at least you're detoxifying a whole lot of shit that you're taking in right through the week, okay? So this is another take-home message. DMSA, roughly about 200 milligrams once a week is a good wellness protocol that you can use. Otherwise, the dose is 10 milligrams per kg body weight if you want to actually detoxify. Chlorella and cilantro, I don't care much for this because these are weak chelators, they are not true binders, they don't throw anything out of your body. But you can have it in your meals on a regular basis because if you have ALA along with this, it works beautifully. Otherwise, the 10-day detox program with chlorella and cilantro don't work, my dear friends. They're absolutely nonsense. Okay? So don't even try doing that. Zeolite. This is a new kid on the block. It's available now. You can have it on a daily basis. It chelates everything. It chelates everything. Lead, mercury, every one of them. And therefore, it is good because, and you need to be a little careful because when you take this, you need to also supplement yourself with good minerals because it takes away the minerals as well. It's an excellent chelator, right? So zeolite is something that is something that we can use now. If a patient really can't do, you're treating a patient from distance, you can't do a lot of IVs, then zeolite is the one that you can go to. And it's available across the globe, nicely packaged, given to you in the form of a powder. You can just put it in the morning and have it once a day or once a week or 3 times a day. Do it for about 2-3 months, see how you're feeling. Take a break for the next 9 months, do it again every year. Becomes a good way to detox in this environment that is full of toxins, okay? Yeah, so those of you who are really interested in understanding how to detoxify, this is a live workshop that's happening on 22nd, 23rd March in Goa. your registration includes a one-night stay at a 5-star hotel where it's going to happen. We are going to demonstrate everything for you at that workshop. You have a contact number here. You can contact Dr. Pallavi and she will help you out with that. This is our conference in September. It's happening at the Fairfield Marriott in Goa, 12, 13, 14. We have a lot of speakers like this who will come and engage with you on functional medicine. For those of you who really want to understand how to use functional medicine in our day-to-day lives, this is the book that I have written, Is Your Doctor Keeping You Sick? Available on every international platform that you can think of. You can buy it, even you can get an e-book. And finally, for those of you who don't have the time to come to our conferences and workshops, you have online workshops that I have got for you. I think I've just finished. You've put off my timer, I've just finished. Thank you for having me. Take home my kids. You need to detoxify if you want to get your methylation well. Take AMA on a regular basis, and if you need to detoxify and don't want to do IVs, DMSA is available, Zeolite is available. So these are your take-home messages. Please use detox in your protocols, otherwise 90% of your patients are going to keep coming back. That's a good way to make money, but it's not good for your patient. And I believe my patient is God, so I think you should go out and treat them well, do detox, and then do everything else that you want to do. Thank you, Dr. Mini.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Just be on the stage. I request Dr. Alok Sharma to come and felicitate. Wonderful, but I told him, chelation everybody doesn't do, just talk about oral chelators and thank you for listening. Wonderful. Thank you. This hamper for Neeta. Okay. Thank you. Now, the segment which we are we have to honor our exhibitors who have helped us for this conference. And I am really happy that this time we had 16 exhibitors who have really participated well for this conference. So I request Dr. Patana, Dr. Sri Kumar, Dr. Lamberto, just be on the stage for giving the mementos to our exhibitors. And Dr. Jignasha, please help. Come, sir. Dr. Alok, you can also join. We have 16 exhibitors, so we need more people. NSB nutritional supplement. Please come on the stage and accept a small memento. Just come here. Thank you. Here. First live bio. आप दे दो एक सबको. Come, Jignasha. Another one. For Karan Bhagat, his father, pioneer of functional medicine in India from Delhi, and they have amazing supplements. Okay. Bliss Infrared Pharma, Mr. Manish Luthra, kindly come on the stage and accept a token. Infrared has changed the way how we practice ozone. Infrared helps extremely well in PCOD and obesity. So come, sir. Move. Look at that. I am speaking. Okay. Taurus Health and Wealth. Are you here? Not there. Okay. Precursor, Recuse Bioscience, please come on the stage. Whenever we do PRP, I'm using his, vials for years. Precursor. Mr. Sridhar, thank you. Next we have Dr. Sukrit, doctor बना दिया तुमको आज. Sukrit Goel and Arzu Goel from Kenazo, kindly come on the stage. Where is he? Not there? Okay. Annie from Functional Medicine. Yes, come over. Functional Medicine E-Ventures Private Limited, where they have solved that if you want international supplements, you can procure it from Annie, so you will definitely be happy. Just Functional Medicine. Yes. Okay, so next we have Autoimmunity Care Pharmaceuticals, a wonderful supplement. Are they there? Autoimmunity Care. Okay. Thank you. Is Autoimmunity Care not there? Okay. Sorry. Just. Microbiotics Health Private Limited, they are the pioneering in gut testing. I would really want them to come on the stage. Okay. Whoever doesn't follow the order, I mean, they'll get it at the... Okay, Hansler has unfortunately had to go away. Huh? Microbiotics, are they there? Not there. Get it. SPE Econica, Professor Nazrao? Not there. Okay. Biotex Life Solutions? Yes, come over. Leroy will keep taking. You come. Just come, Leroy. You cannot just hide away inside. Okay. Biotex Life Solutions? No. So this is Biotex? Yes. Thank you. Nathi aayo. Upar jane aapko. Huh. Come, Dr. Leroy. And his team. Please accept a small token. Yes. Clean medicine, green medicine. Make food as your medicine. That's the slogan Dr. Leroy's company works with. NutraSwiss, I request Dr. Sanjay to take on their behalf. NutraSwiss, you'll take? Yes. It's okay. Abe, he's there. Arshid bhai, aa jao. Huh? Arshid bhai is our backbone for Ozone Forum of India because he's the one who makes ozone machines for us on our specification, which is a very tight-rope walk. He will not be allowed to falter. He will not be allowed to be. Okay, so Arshad bhai. इधर एक स्वामी जी है. नहीं आया. Microbiotics. Okay. Yes. Swami. Huh? Okay. Again, a very big supporter for Ozone Forum of India. Mr. Swami from Right Wing Life Care. We've been using his products for last 10 or more than that. I think I was introduced to him in 2011 in Dr. Lenny's conference and Dr. Shri Kumar's conference. He's been always there as a supporter. So they are all my OFI family, you know. If we have a conference, we always welcome them. Thank you for support, Mr. Swami. Yeah. Right. अरे मनीष जी, सुप्रीत को भेजो नीचे. एक दूसरा फोटो. आप इधर है वो लड़की है. Microbiotics, are you here? Yeah, come here. So microbiotics are pioneering into gut checking, and from their report they will give you a wonderful probiotic designed from your gut checking. So come and take the memento. Please say thank you to Akanksha as well. Yes. Yes, Arzu, आपका सुकृत कहाँ है? अच्छा ठीक है, आप आ जाओ. Thank you. सुकृत नहीं आया. अच्छा सुकृत है. Half of सुकृत. Our Canazo India CBD collection, I've been using it for my patients. Arzu, who's the better half of Sukrit Goel, kindly accept Canazo India. Acha beta. Autoimmunity care. Delhi is also not like Preeti, not there. Thank you. Autoimmunity care is not here. Monty Hansler. Econica. ये तो cabbage. Okay, so this year in our stall we have one new entrant from wearable health technology, and that is Gabit, Better Health Sciences. So I request Gaurav Gupta and his team to come up and take a memento. Okay, come Gaurav. Come. Hi. Please accept a small token. I'll just request you to be on the stage only, Gaurav. We just have one more person. So from Taurus Health and Wealth, kindly come up and take the memento. Thank you, our guests. You can also kindly proceed to your seat. Thank you. Okay, so this year we always welcome our new entrant into the world of Ozone Forum of India. So we welcome Dr. Anu from Dabur Research Foundation and Dr. Manu Bhandari. Sir, how do you come up? No. Acha, okay. Come. I will give it. So I'm doing both works. No, there is no introduction needed for Dabur Research Foundation, and thank you for being part of Ozone Forum of India. Thank you. Yes. This is from bisleri. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Millie. Thank you to this wonderful audience. And yes, this is the first time here, but you know, I'm not a functional medicine practitioner, but I see so much value in this. As a trained pharmaceutical scientist, this is absolutely wonderful, and this is going to fly. This is going to really do good. Much.
I'd just like to say something. So, like Dr. Anu said, we come from the pharmaceutical world, which is the alternate system of medicine, and the mainstream, which is the functional medicine. What we try and do is we bridge these systems of medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Twinkle and Dr. Jane, please accept a small token. Jignasha, you can give it to them there. Okay. Thank you. Next, we welcome, I think beta all log leke raho, ready raho. Next we welcome Dr. Janeria from Malaysia. I think the new entrant in Ozone Forum of India and a very promising one. I would want, he gives lectures in Trump's senates, he gives lectures in different countries on biopolitics, and his views will be really, really interesting to listen. So I'm waiting for that. ये हमारा photographer कहाँ है? हाँ. So these are all first timers in Ozone and creating impact. Thank you all for being here. It's not that if I don't felicitate you, you're not welcome. And very promising. We can do or monitor quite a lot. So we have Dr. Gaurav Gupta, who is a founder of Gambit and who was also ex-founder of Zomato. More than technology in healthcare. Thank you. You have a mic.
Can you hear me? Hi everyone. It's great to be back in Bombay. I used to stay in Bombay a long time back. And let me so I don't have a presentation. I just want to make it very interactive. I think you've seen too many presentations already. I'm not a doctor, but I'm actually building in health now. So today in this session, I'll just try to share what technology can do in wellness, health. About this, I'll also share a few experiences that I've had by building Zomato. How many of you have actually used Zomato? Okay. How many of you love Zomato? Brilliant. Sorry, what? You have or you want? You have, very good.
Sir, sorry to interrupt. People want to know that if we'll be a good audience and listen to you nicely, then can we have some more discount on Zomato?
That is not in my control. Not in my control.
What do you?
Thanks. So, that's there upstairs. So yeah, and I think during this I'll also share as to what I think helps build good businesses and products and services, because all of us are in the field of building a business, right, at the end of the day. So how many people here use a wearable? A wearable to track yourself. You track your health parameters, vitals through a wearable. Dr. Lenny has 4 rings in his hand, or 3, I think? 2. 2? Okay. How many? So did you say your hand again? That's okay. Watch. If you track your health through the watch, it's fine. It's crappy, but it's fine. You do it. That's okay. And how many people use a smart ring? Nice. I can see it. Gavin? You see this? Thank you. Made my day. Sorry, raise your hand again. How many people use like a smart ring? And can I ask you why do you use a smart ring? Why do you use a smart ring? Non-intrusive? Excellent. So that's a fundamental, like this is, in my view, this is like a marvel, to be honest. This kind of continuous vital monitoring for your health was not possible some time back. And the reason it is doing so well and it do so well is because it's fundamentally very good user experience. You don't have to charge it for 10 days. Like mine works for 10 days, I'm a power user of this. It's non-intrusive, as you said, no notification, no distraction whatsoever, no messages coming to you, and it is continuous. Like it's very difficult to sleep with a band or a watch, isn't it? Very few people can sleep with a band or a watch in their hand, but this is easier, relatively. So what I'm trying to say is that when you make a product or a service more user-friendly, it takes off like crazy. So when we think about our customers or our products or services, whatever we do, we always have to think about how can you make it easier for the customer. That they don't have to do anything but they get what they want. Zomato is the same thing. You just order food and then you relax, you chill. And your food comes to your house in 30 minutes. If there were so many issues in that order, you would never order and Zomato would never grow. So I think that's fundamentally why I think smart ring as a form factor will do really well. And by the way, it's not to say that this will be the only form factor. There might be even better form factor that will come in the future. Yeah. And what we're trying to do with this is, like unlike most other even smart rings, we have actually made sure we try to combine science and technology as much as we can. So this is the only smart ring globally in the world which actually integrates all 4 pillars of health and not just focuses on sleep, which some of the other players who started this product started with. So you can track your sleep with this, you can track stress levels with this, you can track your fitness, for example your zone-based workouts that you do, the different workouts. You can track very cool metrics like VO2 max. I'm sure everybody in this room knows VO2 max. There's a very different setting of room. Mostly when I talk to like just end consumers, nobody knows it, but it's such an important metric for us. And then one thing we've done is that we've integrated nutrition onto it. So, and we've used the power of AI to do that. So if you use this, and we're the only wearable in the world which has that. And again, it was just because we wanted to improve the user experience. So everybody wants to log their food, but nobody wants to take the effort to log their food. So we built an AI-based, voice-based food logging. Where you can just speak. So I speak to it saying, like 3 scrambled eggs in morning and 1 chicken salad for lunch, and it logs my food. So it gives you a sense of calories in. And because I'm wearing this all the time, it gives me a sense of calories out. I get an approximate sense of whether I took more in or I exerted more out. Very important, simple metric for people to know, but nobody had done that before. And now people are doing it just because it's simpler to do. Yeah? So I think it's very important that whatever you build has a lot of science in it. So we fundamentally believe that to improve any health goal, these 4 pillars are very important, and we try to incorporate everything onto it. The other thing that we're trying to do with this, and I think that's where I would love to get your views as well. Everything has to be useful for a customer to use it. So can I ask people who use a smart ring, what is the most useful thing for you when you use a smart ring? Or wearable? Step count? HRV? VO2 max? You're tracking it? Is it improving with time?
The best to track is HRV.
HRV? Anything else?
HRV and sleep.
And sleep. Okay, so if you see, there are some answers here, but the answers are a bit different. The more we can make any product service utility, the more and more customers will actually use it. Like even, so I'll take a contrast, like even Zomato is a contrast. So now food delivery, so by the way, when we were building food delivery, 6, 7, 8 years back, people used to laugh at us. Literally. They used to tell us, are you telling us people in India will download an app, order food for 300 rupees on an app, and then you will deliver that order in 30 minutes, and you will actually make money on that order? So it took us 6 years of convincing the whole world that this will work, and now of course it's become behavior for a lot of us. Today if you don't order like once, twice, thrice a week, you miss it. You're like, what am I doing? What am I not doing? So it's found very high utility, and that's why it's doing well. And similarly for this, we're trying to make this not an accessory where you can just track something if you want to, but make it more and more of a utility for you, where you can actually track something important. Like some people look at VO2 max, some people look for sleep, some people are looking at the calorie balance, but we want to take it to the next level from a predictive health standpoint. So use HRV, use other metrics that we get to actually be able to say, is there anything fundamentally wrong in your body that can actually have a major medical implication 6, 12, 18 months from now? So we actually put up a scientific advisory council now from MDs from Harvard, Oxford, and AIMS as well to be able to do that. And that's what we're building for the next generation of our ring. And we're very excited about that because I think such kind of continuous monitoring is just very, very powerful. In fact, I've had very interesting conversations with, of course, so I've been in a couple of conferences with some of the doctors here, and the most interesting thing is we're all trying to figure out that let's say there's an intervention that you do. Yeah, you do a medical intervention, any medical intervention. We're talking about so many of them here. What were the vitals for a patient before the intervention that we could track continuously from this, and what are the vitals of that patient after the intervention has been done? For example, like you were just talking there, and I'll just take that example only. Let's say a customer or a patient is tracking their sleep using this. And so you can track your sleep, you can track stages of sleep, how much is your deep sleep, REM sleep, all of that, and we all know what are the right markers. And then you do some intervention, and then you track the sleep after the intervention. Whether the stages have improved or not, whether duration is improved or not. So I think this can be very, very useful. The similar thing can be done for VO2 max, for HRV. So I think as a community, I would love to engage with all of you to understand and build as to what can be done where it can become a more and more utility for this group and customers at large. Because if it becomes a utility for this group, it will definitely become a utility for the customers at large. And I think I realized this through these interactions only, that pre and post intervention analysis or assessment can be very, very powerful. And what we are trying to do is trying to make sure this is as easy to use compared to anything else. So I'll give you an example. Somebody told us that can you build gifting for smart rings? And we said, who do you want to gift to? And people said these were kids staying in New York. They wanted to gift it to their parents in India because this is the easiest way to know whether their parents are sleeping well, if their vitals are okay. So what we did was we didn't just build a gifting option. And again, another example of if you make user experience really good, products fly. We actually made a feature. We're the only vendor in the world who made a feature where one click of a button and you can share your data with your loved ones. So on their app, they will start seeing their parents' data. Or doctors can see their patients' data on click of a button. Their app will start like showing your patient's data. And I think even fitness trainers can use it now with their customers. So I think that's what we built, and we're seeing a lot of traction just because of that, because now it's so much become easier to track vitals for your health month, like loved ones and all that. We're also going to build some other cool features which are of course not easy to build by, for example, fall detection. Very, very important, right? I think it can be done, it's not that it can be done. We're also using a lot of, again, technology to make it more easier. So a lot of people came and said, we don't understand these metrics. Like this group understands all these metrics, but customers don't understand these metrics. Like what is VO2 max? How does VO2 max increase? Is there any correlation between my VO2 max and my sleep or my stress? So we said we can't answer this question for everyone. It's impossible. So we used AI to build a health coach for them. It's called PEP, P-E-P. So it's the power of AI and all your data, and it talks to you. So you can ask any question that you want. So I keep talking to it, and you can ask any question, they'll answer the question for you, at least to get you started. And now what we're doing is, we have a smart ring, but we're not stopping there. Because this only gives you like heart rhythm and cardiovascular data, but we've actually built a smart scale for body composition. We of course have glucose monitoring. We're trying to see if we can get it here. It'll take some time, but we'll get it here. And we're building many more things. Imagine all that data for a person, once they measure it, and then you put the power of AI to help you understand all of that, it can be super powerful. It can tell you things that you don't want to hear, but if you hear that in time, it'll help you. So we're trying to build that, and I'm very excited, and thanks Dr. Billy for this opportunity. I'm very excited to work very closely with all of you, because I think I know how to build businesses or technology a little bit, but I don't have as much as medical science with me as you have, and you interact with customers and patients on a daily basis. So would love to interact and collaborate to see what we can do to make this more and more useful from a health standpoint for customers. Yeah. So thank you again.
Two more welcomes left. So we welcome Mr. Nikhil Kapoor and Sharmili Kapoor. Can you just come here from Atmantan Wellness? They've been really using Ozone with their clients and at the same time sending more and more. This is the second time. Thank you. So this is welcome for her. Okay, now you stay here. Okay, so society. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And she's my teacher in ozone therapy. And Jignasha also. So I would request you to accept this book. Thank you.
Thank you. What are my teacher?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Talking to people, she is the mother of ozone. You can call me grandmother of ozone.
With more white hair. Thank you, Dr. Parul, for being here. You have to, in a journey on which began with Dr. Parul, continued with me and Jignasha. We wish it keeps flowing and we make more and more doctors ozone favorite. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to
We head towards our next lecture. It's on the role of metabolic flexibility in health, and this is by Dr. Suresh Sotam. Dr. Suresh is a practicing clinician, researcher in the addiction therapy. He is an author as well. He is a speaker, he is a lecturer who lived and worked in the United States for 30 years. He had been involved in the field of wellness and integrative medicine for over 25 years. His knowledge of biophysics has helped Dr. Suresh bring several new perspectives into the practice of integrative and functional medicine. He has taught this unique perspective to doctors, nutritionists, fitness trainers and performance coaches both in India and abroad through his lectures and writing. Let's hear it.
Where are you now? Getting ready for lunch?
No. Too much time left.
Really?
Just ate breakfast. And Dr. Patana says eat less.
Huh? But Dr. Patana's not here, no? To monitor it.
So that's why I'm saying less late.
We are out of the intermittent fasting.
Who said that?
The one who eats more.
Can you see?
With the lights, I can't see with the lights.
Okay.
Wait, I'm felicitating.
No. Start, sir.
This time doesn't count. Now it's, no, 45. Okay. Officially, I'm starting. Okay. I'd like to give you a few simple takeaway points that I hope will create a shift in the way you look at major ailments like cancer and diabetes, obesity, and many other ailments based on an area that I feel is largely neglected, but very simple to implement and very effective in clinical outcomes. So, metabolic flexibility is big. So let's start at the basics. Our body, a large part of the body mass is based on creating energy for the cells and also to remove the metabolic waste that comes as a result of creating that energy. So those two are the fundamental functions of a major part of the body. There are many metabolic pathways in the body. Okay, so discussing all of them in detail will be a subject for a future lecture. I'm going to focus on two principal pathways today, but I just want to point out a couple of things out of this that will help you change your perspective on your approach to treating diabetes and cancer, for example, where a lot of books have been written about how cutting off sugar helps cancer, treat cancer, for example. What that approach neglects to
bear in mind is that the body has other metabolic pathways in the absence of glucose, that it can create glucose from fatty acids, proteins and stuff like that. Point out two particular pathways. See, glycogenolysis and gluconeogenesis. We have to keep these pathways in mind when we think of depriving cancer cells of glucose, because the cancer cells can get glucose from these pathways, generation of glucose from non-carbohydrate carbon substrates. So, a far more elegant approach, in addition to depriving glucose in your dietary approach to cancer patients, would be to block the pathways that enable the cancer cells to create glucose from other substrates. So, but we won't dwell too much on that because I want to focus on two principal pathways. So, I got it. Sorry, I'm going in the opposite direction. Okay. So, a car, for example, has a principal fuel that it burns, such as diesel or petrol. And nowadays you have hybrid cars. So, but that also still burns a principal fuel. But the body has many fuels that it can burn. But the majority of energy comes from two sources. One is glucose and the other is fat. So we're going to talk about two pathways today that play a very important role in health. One is the glycolytic pathway, where you burn glucose as your primary source of energy. The other one is the lipolytic pathway, where you burn fat as the primary source of energy. Okay, so metabolic flexibility basically is the ability of the body to switch between these two pathways based on two things. Based on the available of energy at that point and the need to burn the right fuel. For most of us in modern society, we're always living in the glycolytic pathway. We're burning glucose most of the time, even at a time when it's not available, even at a time when fatty acids are available. So we'll see why that happens and what are the consequences of a broken metabolic flexibility system, and also how to fix it. So, first, let's talk about the energy difference between carbohydrate and fat. One molecule of glucose contains 6 oxygen atoms, whereas one molecule of fat contains only 2 oxygen atoms. But burning fatty acids gives you a lot more energy. Okay. However, it requires a lot more oxygen. This is where exercise and deep breathing, such as pranayama, are all come, because if you increase your oxygen intake in any way, including ozone therapies or bio-oxygenative therapies, you're going to give the body a better chance at engaging in the lipolytic pathway, that is to burn fat. So the more oxygen you have, the more fatty acids it can burn. Okay, so moving right along, how do we measure metabolic flexibility? It's a very simple, low-tech method called indirect calorimetry, where you're going to calculate the amount of oxygen you're taking in, and that oxygen is used to burn fuel, and how much carbon dioxide you are excreting as a result of that. So, when you measure the oxygen intake and how much carbon dioxide you're putting out, the ratio between those gives us two important pieces of information. One is, it gives you an approximation of how much energy you're consuming at that time. Secondly, it calculates what is called the respiratory exchange ratio, RER. It's also called respiratory quotient, RQ. It's the same thing. That tells you how much glucose versus fat you're burning at any given time. And that's a very important number. I'm going to show you later on how you can arrive at this approximation without going through the measuring process if you don't have equipment. Okay, so here's some very important information to understand. The ratio between how much glucose you're burning and how much fat you're burning at any given point will tell us whether you're burning fat principally or you're burning glucose. How do we know that? The RER ratio of 0.7 tells you that your body is burning 100% fat at that time. 0.83 says that you're using a lot of protein. 1 tells you you're in 100% glucose pathway. Most of us are here most of the time, and that's not a good thing. Low values equals burning more fat, so low values equals burning more fat, higher values equals burning more glucose. Now here's the interesting thing. What happens if your RER, the respiratory exchange ratio, is more than 1? It means you're overeating. When you're overeating, the excess calories are usually in the form of carbohydrate, which turns into glucose, which is not burnt in real time, so the body converts it and stores it as fat. So an RER of over 1 almost guarantees that your fat to muscle ratio is going to be suboptimal. You're going to be storing a lot of fat. So, how does metabolic flexibility work? In other words, if your body is metabolically flexible, what actually happens? So let's see. The availability of energy or usage. See, at any given point, you might have eaten a high carbohydrate meal, so glucose is readily available energy. But let's say you've had a high fat meal. The readily available energy would be fatty acids. So, if you're metabolically flexible, at that time, you will burn the fuel that's readily available. So, if you're not doing that, then you are metabolically inflexible. So, if you ingest carbohydrate, your blood sugar, burning glucose instead of fat, how should your RER be? It should be high, right? Close to 1. If you have a fatty meal, what should it be? Anybody? RER should be high or low? Low. 0.7, right? Or close to it. If you're not 0.7, see, most of us, when we have a fatty meal, because we're metabolically inflexible, even after a fatty meal, you will find that your RER is higher than 0.7. It's closer to 1. Showing that in spite of readily available fatty acids as fuel, you're still burning glucose. When you fast, and you may say, I don't fast, but everybody fasts while you're sleeping. So, when you ingest carbohydrate, when you fast, what should your RER be? When you fast, what should you be burning if your metabolic flexibility is working well? You should be burning fat. But that's not what happens to most of us. How do we know that? Because your RER will be high in your sleep. Especially diabetics. When they wake up, what is their blood sugar level? It's high. Okay, when we exercise, what should we be burning? So RER should be high or low? Huh? You should be higher, right? The RER should be higher. So you should be there. But look at where you are. That's where you are. So that's the middle. Conversely, after a high-fat meal, where should you be? You should be low, here. But where are you? You're there. That's what we call the low-carb flu. You'll feel run down, you feel like you're going to get sick. That's a classic sign of metabolic inflexibility. You may not notice it because it's become normal for you to feel that way. Like a little tired and a little under the weather. So that's what happens when you're metabolically inflexible. What else happens when you're metabolically inflexible? ability to burn fat is reduced. So even though plenty of fatty acids are available, your body is not able to utilize it. So that's called postprandial thermogenesis, because you're not able to increase energy output after meals. How often do we feel tired or sleepy and drowsy after meals? Think about it. Okay, and here's an interesting thing. Everybody knows what BMI is, right? Yes. Okay, so the higher the BMI, the less able you are to burn fat. And how do we know that? Because look at this, after a fatty meal, a normal person will be down here. The higher the BMI, the more they're burning glucose. To the point where someone who's about 40, they're even going as if they're overfeeding, even though they may not have overeaten. That's how badly the metabolic flexibility is broken. So, what happens further when it's impaired? When you're fasting, what are you supposed to burn? Okay, so here's what happens. Your body demands glucose even when you're at rest. Fasting makes you more hungry and you become catabolic. That means you're breaking down muscle because the body's stealing glycogen stored in the muscle. Therefore, metabolic inflexible person, when he's trying to fast or restrict calories, like for example when he's going on a diet, is very likely to also reduce their metabolic rate. What does that mean? Your metabolic set point comes down. So your body is consuming less energy at rest and at exertion. So you will feel tired, you will feel an inability to lose weight, and you can become hypothyroid as a result. So what are the consequences of impaired metabolic flexibility? When your metabolic flexibility is broken, it's not functioning, poor glycemic control, constant demand for glucose. So you start snacking between meals and stuff like that. Okay. If you kind of use willpower to avoid snacking and all that, guess what happens? The response by using willpower, you ignore your feeling of tiredness and your hunger pangs and everything, and your thyroid starts becoming hypo. And then what do? You take treatment for hypothyroid instead of fixing metabolic inflexibility. As a result, intermittent fasting, somebody said they do intermittent fasting. If you do intermittent fasting and you're metabolically inflexible, it is going to work against you, not for you. And I hope you're starting to see the reason why that is so. And before we're done, you'll understand clearly why that is so. So intermittent fasting and calorie restriction will be difficult and unsuccessful if you're metabolically inflexible. This may be the primary mechanism behind the low-carb flu that I talked about before. A continual demand for glucose during exercises means you'll be dependent on a steady supply of energy drinks, bars, snacking, and junk food. Okay, so is it clear so far? What do you think? Clear so far? Okay. So can we move on as the clock is ticking? And Jignasha has not yet prompted me. So I'm in good shape right now so far. Okay, so we talked about what happens when you're metabolically inflexible. What actually is going on when you're metabolically inflexible? Okay, so it starts at the single cellular level, metabolic inflexibility, and you multiply that by the trillions of cells in your body. Okay, so here's what happens. There are two things that go wrong when you're metabolically inflexible. You're unable to burn glucose when it's readily available, okay, because the cells have become insulin resistant. So even though there's plenty of glucose, there's no glucose uptake, so the cells cannot burn the glucose. So what happens to that excess glucose? It gets converted to fat and stored. The other thing that breaks down when you're metabolically inflexible is inability to utilize fatty acids as fuel when it's readily available. That is due to a mitochondrial dysfunction. The mitochondria are not able to utilize fatty acids to produce the energy. So, here's a study that was a major breakthrough study in my opinion, and it's not so long ago. Upon a more thorough analysis of the different components of metabolic flexibility, we found that in vivo mitochondrial function was the single predictor of basal RAR. So, in other words, what they found was mitochondrial dysfunction was a result of being stuck in the middle. Remember what I said? Being stuck in the middle? So, when the mitochondria starts malfunctioning, that's the predictor of metabolic inflexibility. So, that is in fact the cause of metabolic inflexibility. And it gets very interesting after that. So, just to summarize, impaired inability to burn glucose as fuel is due to insulin resistance. Inability to burn fatty acids for energy is due to mitochondrial dysfunction. Keep that in mind. Both are metabolic defects at the level of the individual cell multiplied by the trillions of cells. Now, here is something very interesting that comes out. Obesity and metabolic inflexibility are two different things. Okay. What does that mean? It means that there are people who are obese whose glucose control is fairly normal, but there are skinny people who are diabetic, who have poor glycemic control. So, high basal RAR, that is, your resting respiratory exchange ratio is high, which means you're burning glucose at rest instead of burning fatty acids at rest. Fasting, postprandial, and exercise-stimulated fat oxidation. That means while you're exercising, you're still burning glucose instead of burning fatty acids. Your body is stuck in the glycolytic pathway. It's not able to utilize the lipolytic pathway. Okay, so here comes a very interesting observation. An impaired ability to increase fatty acid oxidation precedes the development of insulin. In other words, before you become insulin resistant and diabetic or poor glycemic control, you have to first be unable to burn fat. So, poor glycemic control is a result of inability to burn fat. Do you realize the implication of that statement? When we treat diabetics, for example, what is the focus? It's on controlling the glucose control, right? It's on modifying glucose control. But that's not where the problem is. The problem is inability to burn fatty acids, which led to poor glycemic control. So we are treating the symptom, ignoring where the cause comes from. And even functional medicine doctors who talk about dealing with root causes do not very often make this connection. Here's how to remember it. Fat oxidation fails first. Insulin resistance is the result. That is the most important takeaway I have to offer you today. Coupled with that, two more things that will help you change your clinical approach to these problems. So, fatty acid oxidation, inability to burn fat, fails first before you can become insulin resistant. So the remedy for that is to fix the ability to burn fat, not to try to reverse insulin resistance. Okay, so think about that for a minute, because it's a very important thing to understand. Okay, so in summary, metabolic inflexibility begins with the inability to burn fat when you're fasting, which means you're at rest. When you're on diet, that means depending on what, not diet as in restricting your calories, but diet meaning are you having more carbohydrates, are you having more fat and stuff like that. Okay, so insulin resistance follows. We now become metabolically inflexible because of the inability to burn fat, not because of lack of sugar control, which is a result of inability to burn fat. Okay, so how do you know that you're metabolically inflexible? You get sleepy after eating carbs. You can't go for 5 hours between meals without feeling hungry. You feel drowsy every day after lunch. You must snack to sustain your energy levels. Fasting is difficult, and if you use willpower to deal with discomfort, you get worse results than you were expecting. That is muscle loss and very little fat loss. You can't function without a steady stream of stimulants like coffee and all that. So what's going on here exactly? Here, how can we regain our metabolic flexibility? Most of us in modern society are to some extent or the other metabolically inflexible. So metabolic inflexibility to glucose manifests itself in poor sugar control. Okay. So metabolic inflexibility towards fat manifests itself as poor state of fasting, calorie restriction, and low carb diets. The proven way to improve your insulin sensitivity and thereby improve your metabolic flexibility to glucose is to here's a very important thing. Please, I'll take a few minutes to explain this because it's the second important takeaway. The proven way to improve your metabolic flexibility is to first improve your ability to burn fat. I hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so how do you do that? Weight loss alone is not going to help you. So you should eliminate the term weight loss from your vocabulary. Think of fat loss. Okay, yeah. Fat loss, okay. So, if you are able to lose fat, you will improve your glycemic control. But that's easier said than done. How do you lose fat when you can't burn fat for energy? Think about it. If you're metabolically inflexible, you're not able to burn fat, even when it's readily available. So how are you going to lose fat? So we have to translate that into a way we can understand. How does it mean? In order, we have to restate the problem. So we have to say, to lose fat, you must first lose fat. Make sense? I hope so. To lose fat, you must first lose fat. So what does that mean? You have to improve your body's ability to burn. See, if you can't burn fat when it's readily available, how are you going to burn fat when it's stored? Think about it. So what this means is you have to first learn to burn fat when it's readily available before you can burn the stored fat. What are we doing when you're dieting? You're trying to burn stored fat, but you can't do that unless you can burn fat when it's available. So in order to lose fat, you must first lose fat. In order to lose fat, you must first lose fat. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So, here are the ways. Fasted sprints, short bursts of high sprints. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to race through this. So, dynamic weight training. It doesn't have to be in a gym. You can do body weight exercises. And gradually challenge your body with more and more difficult exercises, short bursts. Bring on the hypertrophy. So, well-defined muscles. Again, anything that builds muscle. Because your GLUT4 transporters have to increase the number of GLUT4 transporters. Expose yourself to cold. Cold showers. Keep your home as cold as possible. Expose yourself because your brown fat to white fat ratio will change optimally. Phytonutrient stress. So multiple, polyphenols, antioxidants, and all that in your diet are good fat burners. Manage your stress. Okay. And then here are some interesting things. PGC1 is like mitochondria. Then you increase your PGC1 alpha and it stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. Okay, how do you do that? Here's how you do it. Before you ask the question, I have the answer. L-carnitine, okay? And so, but you need high doses, otherwise it doesn't work. At least for an adult above 60 kilograms, you need at least 2 grams in divided doses. You can take 5,000 in the morning and 500 in the afternoon and 500 in the night. Would be a good way. And it always works better if you take it on an empty stomach, like about half an hour before meals. Okay, so Alpha-lipoic acid, Dr. Nani spoke about it, and I'm bringing a different perspective to it. Here we are using it for fat burning rather than as an antioxidant. So it's a beautiful thing because it works very well in combination with L-carnitine. And then you have things like berberine. All these are easily available. Butyric acid, capsaicin comes from mirchi, correct. Chromium, curcumin, and my favorite is genistein, which is an extract from soya. It's a protein. It's also very good in cancer cells because it forces the cancer cell, it makes the cancer cell unable to convert fatty acids and proteins into glucose. Quercetin is another important thing, and all these things are easily available now in India. So, okay, how to track your metabolic flexibility? How do you know you're becoming metabolically flexible? Okay, so you're waking up in a state of mild ketosis. That means you've been burning energy fat when you're sleeping at rest. That is the right energy to burn. If you're waking up with high fasting blood sugar levels, you know you're metabolically inflexible. Okay, so can you all burn your own body fat between meals? You eat carbs without the sugar levels going up and down. Okay, can you skip a meal without feeling anything, without hunger pangs, and without struggling and without losing willpower? Are you snacking less? Can you store the carbs you eat as muscle? So how can you tell? If you're losing gluteus muscle mass, your legs are getting skinnier, you know that you're not able to store unused glucose as glycogen. Okay. So if you can meet all these conditions, you have become metabolically flexible. Okay, so takeaways. Exercise cannot make up for a bad diet. And a bad diet, a good diet cannot make up for lack of exercise. So you can't escape. Huh? Yes. Okay, so you can't cheat. Okay, exercise is not important because it burns calories. Why is it important? No. Based on what we're talking about. Clue. No, it's simpler than that. Very simple answer. I don't ask difficult questions.
You only answer, sir.
Huh?
You answer.
Why? Use your brain. So exercise is not important because it burns calories. Exercise is important because it restores metabolic flexibility. See, simple, no? Okay, so eat plenty of complete proteins. What are complete proteins? See, most vegetables are incomplete proteins. So if you're a vegetarian, you need to combine vegetables and lentils and things like that to create a complete protein. What is a complete protein? Something that gives you your 8 essential amino acids. Play frequently, push your limits occasionally. Okay, so previous slide. They're not giving me time to go back and slides and all that, so I'm sorry. Here. Okay, so I want to leave you with one more thing. When it comes to treating cancer, it's very important to understand what we just talked about. There are a lot of books written about it and many diets and all that stuff. But all those things, while they are of course valid and you should observe them, you need to do one other thing if you want those things to work. At two extremes you have cutting off sugar and glutamine, they say, will start the cancer cells. That's a half truth, it's not a whole truth. Because if you cut off, see, cancer cells are like cockroaches, they need anything that's available. They can burn any form of energy. So if you cut off glucose, they will just go into gluconeogenesis and all those pathways that I showed you. So a better way is to, you can of course cut off glucose supply through your diet and everything, but you need to drop many of the pathways through which they can get alternative sources of glucose. Number one. Number two, a ketogenic diet. And this is not just for cancer, it's for even if you go on a ketogenic diet for other purposes, for sugar control or for weight loss or whatever. A ketogenic diet is a high-fat diet. How can you burn? So high-fat diet means you have readily available fat as your main source of energy. How can you burn fatty acids that are readily available when you are metabolically inflexible? You tell me. In spite of most people who go on a ketogenic diet, in spite of having a high source of readily available fatty acids, they will still burn glucose. How do we know this? Because study after study shows it. So you need to first become metabolically flexible before these things work for you, whether you're a cancer patient or whether you're doing it for other reasons. Okay, so keep that mantra in mind. In order to lose fat, you must first lose fat. Okay, if you do it in that sequence, three beautiful things happen. You become metabolically flexible. You can burn fatty acids when they're readily available, which is the right kind of fuel, which means you're burning fat at rest. Thirdly, your glucose control becomes a lot easier because your body knows now how to shift gears, to shift into the glycolytic pathway when there's plenty of glucose available, to shift into the lipolytic pathway when there's plenty of fat available. Because intuitively, your body knows how to choose. You don't have to do it consciously. You just have to give it the opportunity to be able to do it. So initially, because for most of us, the lipolytic pathway has been dormant for so many years, you have to wake it up. Okay. And then all the rest.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. That was wonderful. I request. Yeah, come in the center. Yeah. Please come in the center.
Thank you.
Where are those books?
Thank you.
Okay, so next, just be here, sir. Next we have an interesting lecture, but before that lecture, we have a book inauguration of Dr. Sanjay Sachdeva's new book. I request Dr. Sri Kumar, who else? Just come on, Dr. Patana, please come on the stage. Dr. Sanjay Sachdeva, where are you? Okay, please be here, sir. Dr. Alejandro, Dr. Alex, just please be on the stage. 2 minutes. Who's that? Dr. Sibia, please come on the stage. Krisha, aa gayi? Krisha, come on. Yes, we are releasing his book on cognitive. He will speak about his book in his lecture. Dr. Alok, please join us on the stage. He's like, मैं आया और बुला लिया. Just here. Sir. Chalo, Jignasha, you also go. Yes. Dr. Sanjay, I think you should come in the center, please. Yes, I'm coming on the center, please. Okay, so I request all of you to please inaugurate Cognitive Longevity, written by Dr. Sanjay Sachdeva.
you so much. Thank you for your patience. I will be short. We are running out of time. So, I have been helped a lot in this with a lot of my friends in this hall who have helped me put together a lot of data, especially Dabur Research Foundation and several other doctors who have helped me gather the data. The most fearsome thing in our life, I think, is that one day we might forget the names of our loved ones. Our brain starts from brain fog. We start having small memory lapses. Oh, what did I have to say to you? Oh yes, I just remembered. That is not a normal thing. It's a break of a synapse. I was studying longevity last 2 years ago and writing a book on longevity which was published last year. And then I started to do research on this. And I realized that without having a brain unaging process, we cannot really live healthy. Just having a healthy body is not enough. A young brain which does not age. So you may be 95, but if your brain is 25, you will be a happier person. Our ability, our cognizance is most important for our health. So we did some study on various physiological hallmarks of aging, and memory and cognitive function turned out to be the number one marker, which was rated as the number one amongst all of the other ones that we studied. This was a study done by Dabur Research Foundation for us. I don't know, it's not moving. Can you check? Yeah. Which one? Like this. This is not the slide, sorry. Can somebody? Yeah, it's not working. हाँ तो आप करिए. Maybe until you stop this. I'm sorry for the technical glitch. This should be not reduced from my time. There's some very interesting information that will be of use to all of us. I hope they can get it running.
So the brain of that remote has aged.
No.
We need to burn it remote.
Yeah, okay. I think it's working now. Okay. So, yes, this was a study done by Dabur Research Foundation on unhealthy aging and aging. Interestingly, we discovered many hallmarkers of eubiosis and dysbiosis, what it causes. And one of the things which I discovered myself was this brilliant coffee, which I have actually applied for a patent for, but not yet granted. And I did a trial on this with 50 people, and we did their EEG markers of the brain. So this recipe charges your brain cells for about 2 or 3 hours. So if you have this blend of coffee with the dark cocoa powder and the turmeric latte, and then this is what it does. The lion's mane actually acts to enhance the brain function, and for about 2 or 3 hours you remain in an alert state. I don't know what works, but the trials reveal that our brain waves are much more functional at that point in time. There are also some antioxidants that we researched upon, and we also did some study on the mind diet. So I was trying to build a diet for the mind, just like we have diets for weight loss and other things. So these are neurodegenerative or neuroregenerative diets which prevent neurodegeneration. Mindful eating has a big role to play in this. And I feel that simply eating mindlessly itself degenerates the molecules of food. And I did a study with a friend of mine, Dr. Krishna Matakpai, on water and how our emotions and our energies can change the molecular structure of water. This revealed the same stages of change in the molecules came with food. So when you are doing mindful eating practice, So whenever you eat food like as if you're sitting in a gurdwara and having langar, instead of being on your phone, watching TV and eating. This changes a lot of things, especially for the energetic status of the food. Supplements, of course, we've heard a lot about since yesterday, so I'll not waste too much time on this. Yes, calorie restriction, Dr. Patana spoke about today, and I've studied the impact of calorie restriction on the brain, and this has a very interesting link with brain aging. Every time you go into this, I've experimented with 3 different types of calorie restriction. One is the standard intermittent fasting, one is what Dr. Patana spoke about today, alternative days, and then what I do is I was trying to trick the body into not knowing when the next meal will come. So what I did was I did 16 hours one day, 20 hours one day, 12 hours one day. So every time the body gets used to it and it expects food, that if you're doing 16-8 consistently, then your body knows that in the next 8 hours is my eating time. The next day also it knows that he will have lunch or the first meal at 2 o'clock. So you're already prepared for it. The body has a very smart memory and it goes into the cells. So I started to experiment with what can we do if we change that every day. So I did an experiment for about 30 days with each day doing differently. One day I was doing only water fast, 24 hours. One day no water fast, like Karwa Chauth. So it made my wife very happy, but I don't know what effect it had on the brain. So we did a lot of studies on this. Of course, exercise and brain health has been studied deeply, and the role of BDNF development in synaptic plasticity. Aerobic exercise helps a lot in this. This is an example from my own life. As I said that we heard in one of the talks yesterday that if you do not follow what you are talking about and you are only speaking, then it does not apply to, it will not have application on your patients. So my own visceral fat was 6, as you can see, and my body fat percentage was 25% plus last year. And I started to work on it, and in about a few months' time, from August to November, it went down to 24%. And my muscle mass, which was 24%, went to 25%, 25 kilos. And my visceral fat now, on 21st January, was 4. So I brought it down from 7 to 4 in about 8 months. Skeletal muscle mass was 24. I brought it to 28.2 kilos. So I put on, at 65, age of 65, I put on 6 kilos of muscle mass without losing weight. And the body fat percentage from 25% 6 months ago came to 17%. So that's how much, and it impacts the brain as well, obviously, because we talked about physical exercise and the brain. This was in 2020, and this was in 2025. Sorry, it's not such an attractive picture. But that's my biological age. My chronological age is 65. The brain aging test was done with a friend of mine in Switzerland, and the biological age came down to 46.9. So my brain is of a 46.9-year-old, whereas my actual age is 65. So you can actually reverse about 20 years of your brain if you want. Cognitive training techniques, of course, are now quite in vogue. Everybody's doing it. And these are training from non-computer based to computer based training. There are lots of programs that are available. And in fact, I saw somebody in the flight the other day coming to Bombay who was doing these exercises in the flight. So it recharges your brain. There's also a very interesting app called Neurogeneration. And you go on that app and you can, it takes you from level 1 to level 10. And it keeps going up and up and up. And the level gets harder and harder. So it makes you exercise your brain while you're sitting. Memory exercises are very important. Concept of lifelong learning is very interesting because I think it's important to understand that we do not need to stop learning. The moment we stop learning, we start aging faster. I realized this at the age of 40. Imagine I was an MBA in marketing and I left that and I started to study functional medicine 20 years ago. And in 20 years from my normal degrees in nutrition and in MBA, I studied nutrition and I got a PhD and I'm still studying. I've done over 22 diplomas in nutrition just to engage my mind into a constant state of learning. Technology, of course, has enhanced this whole exercise of brain aging. AI, virtual reality, and of course, these are now created stimulating environments where you can actually awaken your brain to start thinking differently and to start connecting your synapses in a different manner. Social engagement has a lot to do with brain health. Loneliness is a big connection. So if you are feeling lonely, just find company that you can share your thoughts with. We do a test in our clinic called the BioWell, which tests your mind, thoughts, number of thoughts per minute that you're getting, and the status of the mind and the stress status. And I've realized that people who are lonely, they come with very high states of stress, even though they're not doing anything, or they're not doing anything career-wise, or they're not busy, but they're just lonely, and their stress levels come at 37 to 38 score out of 40, as opposed to people who are constantly working or are busy and have work stress or family stress, but they are at least not in loneliness. And stress has a lot of impact on the mind and body. It has a huge impact on the cellular level in the brain, and it has been known to increase tau plaque. Mindfulness meditation is one of the most extensive studies. Again, Dabur Research Foundation has done a huge study on this, and these are the hormones that are released by the brain during meditation. We did trials on 500 people, and the trials proved TNF alpha going up, and stem cell activation happens, memory enhancement goes up by 55%. These subjects were subjected to 3 months of study, where there was a control group and an open group, which was asked to do just meditation and no other change in their life. Simply doing meditation itself changed 14 biomarkers. Telomere length, mitochondrial activity, immune health, and oxidative stress. All of them have been studied for mindfulness and longevity connection. Sleep, of course, we've heard enough about sleep, so we know that sleep is an important element of this. Of course, pollution, we need to speak about, especially living in India. People don't understand when we do the heavy metal toxicity test, what impact does pollution have on that, because most people who come there, I would do a heavy metal toxicity test in the clinic, and we realize that mercury levels and lead levels are very high now. So this almost changes the character of the way the person is behaving, because it impacts the mind. Most of the pollutants in the air today, when the PM 2.5 goes up to, let's say, 200 plus, when it crosses 200 plus, you start seeing a decline in the brain. Most of us are breathing that air all the time. In Delhi, we are living in 300-400 AQI. So people are living outside of Delhi, like we spoke about, Dr. Patara spoke about living in Ladakh. They have much lower toxicity levels from pollution. Heavy metal we spoke about, Dr. Ray gave a very nice lecture today morning on heavy metal toxicity. And of course, I'm working now closely with a team of architects to design cognitive friendly spaces. That means the impact of lighting on the brain, impact of color schemes on the brain, and color therapy, etc. So we are designing spaces with natural light and more flow of the energy, which regulates circadian rhythms. Technology, we just heard from Gaurav about Gambit. Gaurav is trying to incorporate a lot of the areas where the link can itself read what is happening in terms of stress levels in the mind and how it is impacting. So from your heart rate variability to other markers that they are developing, about 20 more markers are being added to the ring, and that will actually be able to tell us how to measure what's going on in our brain. Pharmaceutical interventions, of course, are coming up in a big way. We have a lot of research going on nootropics, and nootropics is a new area where a lot of pharma companies are now investing into this. And of course, there is a big role of CBD medicine. We have our partners who are doing research on this, Canazo, and they are doing study on CBD on the brain function. How does it influence the brain? It has a lot of trials that are being done. A lot of trials have been done, but CBD has an important role to play in terms of brain health. Music, sound, and the mind. So Dr. Sivya taught me this chapter on how the music will impact the mind, and he gave me over 50 books to study, and that has taken a lot of understanding. Simple things like Om chanting, how it impacts all the vibrational frequencies, which have from 432 Hz to 700 Hz. When these frequencies are played, even in the background, it changes the way our brain functions and the synapses are changed with that. These are some studies that we've done on the brain. These are sound of each chakra. So we measure the chakras through the biowell test that we do in the clinic, and then based on that we give them a track. So Dr. Ushi, Professor Ushi does this special thing that she's actually my guru in Tai Chi and in the sound healing program. She does specialized, customized tracks in a studio for special people. So we have people who have special needs. For example, we need to listen to a specific type of track, and she helps develop those. This is the burnout stages. If you see the last one, you are mentally and physically completely collapsed and burnt out. So if you do not look after yourself, what Dr. Suresh spoke about in terms of the whole area of mitochondrial dysfunction, you will come to stage 12 very soon. And there's one important part which actually got missed in this, which I'll just take you through, a very interesting part of the story. This is because of the folly that happened with this. These are some studies which Dabur Research has done again for us. So if you see on the left side are all the biomarkers of aging, genomic instability, epigenetic modifications, telomeric attrition. So Dabur helped us to study the herbs which impact genomic instability or nutrient sensing, loss of proteostasis, stem cell exhaustion. These are all the Ayurvedic herbs or the herbs that are available in India that are being studied now for their impact on the brain health. And this is a new study that is being published. Nutrition, of course, we heard, understood. The neuroplasticity part we missed out. So this is a very important part actually. Though neurodegeneration has a genetic connection, and I was fortunate enough to find out that I did not have the ApoE4 gene. Otherwise, you have a risk for Alzheimer and dementia, which is, as I said, the biggest fear. So, but one of the things which actually helps to change the genetic expression is the neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity also increases cognitive reserve, which is the reserve and the brain's resilience against pathological damage. Neuroplasticity, we know, is linked with the brain's ability to regenerate and reorganize itself. It manifests in different forms. So I implemented this neuroplasticity thing many years ago. So from being a CEO in a company to functional medicine in 20 years' time, I've been constantly learning. From learning to play golf to winning 65 trophies at the age of 55. So in the last 10 years, I'm there. What I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to drive home is the important fact and message: do not stop learning. At any age, you can learn anything you want. At 52 or 53, my son taught me to play the flute. So this was something I learned in 3 years' time. It took me 3 years. There was a special Indian music classical teacher who used to come and teach me. And we can't hear sound. Can you hear sound? Okay, anyway. So, doesn't matter. And then Tai Chi, as I said, Dr. Ushi Mohandas, Professor Ushi Mohandas actually inspired me only 5 months ago to learn Tai Chi, and I completed this first level in 5 months' time. So, from meditation to getting into a stage of 9 stages of meditation, I did this in about 10 years' time. As I said, from my MBA to PhD in nutrition, I kept on learning. I did not stop learning. From writing 0 books or even knowing how to write 1 paragraph, I have now done 4 books. So it's a constant journey. All I'm trying to say is that the journey should not end. Whatever you do, keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. That's the only way to keep your brain neuroplastic. That's the only way to keep growing. And that's the only way to stay young. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have one more slide. Okay. Time's up. As I said, I will release the final version at the Bangkok conference of Dr. Patana in August.
So, thank you, Dr. Sanjay, that was wonderful. I request Anjali Mukherjee to please come on the stage. Nutrition, PhD nutrition, wonderful combination, and Dr. Lamberto Ray, please come on the stage. Chalo, update do. Come, Dr. Sanjay. Shaji, meanwhile, I would want you to arrange Dr. Ushi's. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay. Actually, I would also want to share that he was one of the important instrumental in making this conference successful. Thank you for all your support. I've been really picking his brain for exhibitors. I said, let's do something more, and he always was supporting. So thank you. Come, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So next we have an amazing speaker. Really, I mean, जितना amazing बोल सकते हो उतना बोलना चाहिए. Okay, I think we should have introduction video of Dr. Ushi. कर रहे हैं? अच्छा, okay. Some, yeah. You connect. Do all the connections. Okay. So the topic which Dr. Ushi, so I think the topic itself tells you that how much depth is there in this lecture, and in the introduction they will. Okay. Dr. Ushi.
You can sit and do it also. That time just raise your foot. Just raise your foot. Alright? That's it. You can sit and do it as well. The next movement. One at a time, hold the sky. So you hold the sky and that time raise, and you hold the sky and raise. You hold the sky and raise. You hold the sky and raise. One at a time. Alright? The next and very important movement. You sweep behind and raise. You sweep behind and raise. It's called rhythm. Please do it in rhythm. So you nicely sweep behind and raise. Not working. Okay, I had a lady patient who came to me and we found out she has a kidney problem. So the husband was asking me in Karnataka, wife also has kidney, madam. Because he thought prestige was kidney. Alright, so there you go. Swing. And loose free swing. Nicely just fix your body. So one hand goes here, the other hand goes here. Don't worry about anything else. Nobody is looking. We are all equal and good. Please remember this. When you sleep, you look the best. And that's how people like it. I like it active. So it's a matter of choice. The next, very important. Alright, okay, action replay. You're welcome to hug me. I had my bath at 5 a.m. But yes, I want you to remember that the sky is not the limit, your mind is. If you want to limit your mind, I can't help you. But if you want not to limit yourself, please, to everyone who's given me an opportunity to share, thank you so much. I want all of you to provide me opportunities. Like I told Millie, give me at least 100 people, give me 200 people, give me 2,000, I do it in Nakul. I go all over the world doing this. I just want to teach simple things because it's not complicated. And I'm sure those who believe in simple things will understand that it's very easy. Love animals, touch a cow, pet a goat, hug an elephant if you can.
Event career. आसमान में तारे और दारू का ये अंबर है. This is not from आसमान में तारे और दारू का ये अंबर है. हमारे ओजोन सेमिनार में डॉक्टर उशी एक नंबर है. Alright, so with all the love, with the bottom of our heart, we enjoyed a lot, and definitely we never forget. Thank you so much. And, okay. And this is for you.
Oh God, that's.
Wait.
Okay.
इस साइड थोड़ा क्या